happy to be here.
Nice.
Everything enjoying myself. You don't have any more deep breath, right?
No, thank you, bye.
We did one job, now what, get lost?
Now I gotta go see. I can't just sit here and talk about it.
They're in here. How would you handle any that? I think you can see. There's no way. Don't even, there's no way. Okay?
Yeah, I figured, right?
It doesn't feel good, but because the two other walls are sort of forward and staggered, it doesn't allow for any like angles to come in from the sides because you don't have your sides for protection. But there's no like there's no like line through here or this way where you can actually get to you.
So if he's getting me, it's just with dogs, basically.
Yeah, and you can flip those out.
Are you ready for me to just deploy the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Master strategist. Deploy the line, win the roll off.
Like,
Game over.
you cannot table this in one turn.
I can.
I'll do +1 to wounds, but I'll put one of them into here. So these are the 3 hitting that redemptor on 2s, rolling everything that's not a 6. No 6s, so just 1. And 2 dice, please. Thank you. And then I wound on 4s, just +1 wound into the T7 one.
What do you know what?
4s, just +1 to wound. This is into the T7. So 8, 11 saves.
AP2?
4 wounds. AP3. So 5 pin ones.
Are you an assault operator? Yes. Okay. I'm dead? I didn't blow up, that would have been hilarious.
5 attacks into the other one, on 2s, not 6s, reloading everything. 1, 1, 1, 6. Explodes. Wounding on 5s because you're T8.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. All of them.
6 saves on your aim one.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Okay. Stuck and forward. What? Wait, I'm alive? Why am I alive? Why is this camera in the middle here? Because I decided to start dancing in front of John. And John said, I'm going to get a minute of content out of you. So I'm going to be here for probably not quite a minute because I can't count. Anyway, flipping this update right over here. Mixing some serious poo-poo shit. I don't know what's going on fully over there. Death Watch is scary. There's a lot of on the line. Their armies are like this on the front lines. Okay. Jamie went first against Ultramarines, and I don't know fully what's going on. The aim state looks funky as hell. I haven't looked in there. I haven't looked in the pool house. I'm here. Goodbye. Take care. Be brutal but cutting.
I'll try not to swear as much as I usually do.
He didn't have the stomach to stay on this video. He had
Then
to
I'm
run
just
out.
going to sit like Jay and Silent Bob like I usually do with
Yeah, but I mean, like, sometimes, like, if I will sometimes, like, treat myself to a stream, you know, like, my kid's playing Twilight, he's, like, reading a book or something like that, you know, I'm not even like beer or something like that, and I'll just watch it, but usually it's like, I got stuff to do, and I do that.
I'm lazier than that because if I want to find out when something happens, I'll actually call.
Okay,
Be like, did anything cool happen that I want to see? And then they're like,
Yeah,
Okay.
right now, I feel like unless it's like John and I talking to sisters, I feel like
it can get, I don't know what
if I call one of them, a lot of times
Plus
it just feels like the
and
internet
then the shaman,
mostly one
and
way.
the shaman gives them
So,
something. So you can
with
hit
John and I,
one,
it's a
two,
little more
three.
You
two-way,
can't get multiple
but then also
pluses.
having gone over to like up to their house, I went to their house last weekend, and they just like ragdolled me for 2 days straight.
Fuck.
It's cool. I brought my dog up, you know, they had fun.
Okay,
He
so
had
it's
lots
not
of
bad.
pets. But they loved it, but it was just like right now. I've seen how busy they are.
There's so much.
So
I just
I
don't
want to
call
play.
because I feel like
So
at
I'm
that
going to
point it's
start
like
with
free coaching calls. You know?
MSU rubric.
I do like rubric is nobody wants to lose,
either
but
through
man,
jumping
you learn so much
rhinos with flamers, and then rubric's
Well,
just
the
sitting
thing,
back.
the reason why I
scare
went up
the
there
policy
is,
and then cleaning up.
because I feel like
No,
I'm
we
to the
didn't
point
look
where
at
generally
chaplain
like,
prayers.
secondaries, my stretch feels fine,
We still have a little bit to go.
micro feels fine.
And then I need to figure out how to play hero.
My technical combat phase and charge phase maneuvers
There's a
have gotten
30-inch
so much better than they were a
prayer
year ago.
that's minus
And
2
I've
to
clutched
advance
a lot of
charge.
games.
Yeah, you
just
pick a
that.
unit, you're like, pull those demonettes.
And it does one
And-
more.
It feels like now I think I'm hitting that
Because
that
then you can
glass ceiling full.
Is that Curse from Sigmar?
Yes, basically. No, Kirsten Sigmar is
Ruben, Parker,
Minus
Reggie,
one.
and everything. I'm like, hey,
no.
what do
Every
you think my
six
strengths,
to hit is a
weaknesses,
mortal.
what is
Oh,
my
yeah.
play
Can you stop
style?
Doombolt? Can you stop?
Because I don't trust myself. to
Doombolt
self-analyze
just sucks now.
Well, hold on. There might be
So
another
if I
spell
outscore
not
people,
called
it gets a lot of
Doombolt.
speed back,
Right?
and I know like what I
The
can stop
spell
working
now
on,
called
what I can start
Doombolt
working
is
on. And I can
cast
also
on
know like,
six,
what factions
flat
are
race
also
sinners.
jive with how I like to
Oh,
play.
it's 100% please.
But there might be
So
another.
all of them are like you're a very defensive, cagey player. Your head math is excellent. It's super rare that when you commit to shooting something, it doesn't die. They said, however, it seems like for the most part, you come out on turn.
There's this one called Baleful Devotion, which is one of the higher cast ones.
And I
It
was kinda
seems
like,
really
okay,
good.
well,
You
let's
have to
work
pick
on
a visible unit
how do I
with
work
6
on
or more
tempo?
models, but then
And
you
so
roll
I went
a
up there, got
d6
ragdolled for 2
equal
days
to the
straight. We also
result
tested like
of,
GWGT.
sorry, roll a
We
number
did
of
some
dice
workshop
equal to the
so
result
there
of
was
the
value
psychic
gained out of
test, which
those
is minimum
sides.
8.
Nick was testing New York.
Though you can modify it.
John was testing
And
New York. Was telling us
And then
I
on
think
a
this
6
might be
you
a
do
spoiler for the
D3.
NHL
So it's like
Rose list.
Sigmar Zinch's
I don't I haven't figured
Firestorm.
out. I played this match
And
like
then
9
there's
times.
also-
I can't crack it.
So say you cast on
We did. We're like, well, it is actually a hard spoiler,
Then you pick up
but
8
you go to a
dice.
super major event. What are the odds?
D3 models. But
Unless
if
you buy
you,
Templar and they're good.
it's not unmodified.
So that was an interesting find.
It's the result of the psychic
that
test.
list
So
is
if you
super
roll
good
like
GWGT.
a 9 with Armon as a
And it
plus
turns
2
out
caster,
that
and then you bump it
essentially
up
I
to
was
a
it
12,
turns out that when I
roll
play
12 d6, and your 6 is
I'm
your
afraid
d3
of taking
mortals.
damage by some material early. I'm like hyper afraid of it. I think I've just been
And
bad
then,
touched
yeah,
by what's
then you can do a bunch of cool stuff. You can be like, oh, my Rubik's thing, or my Rubik's thing just jumped over here. They
I almost
see
shoot
now
back in.
Yeah.
behind here. And just
So now my positioning is bad.
You can like
And then what ends
spell
up
portal
happening
with
is I get to
Rubik's.
pull one wildly.
How does the
because I sit there, I have great target.
D3 damage does 3? Is that only on a smite?
And I basically just tread water and wait for
Oh,
my
I don't
opponent
know. I
to
haven't even
mistake.
looked at that.
And then I
Then
explode out and then
actual
game
Zinch's
immediately.
Firestorm
Problem
is
is
just
if
on
you do that
5.
too late, you're down.
No, it's on 5. If you,
points.
John, have you heard of the saddest movie of all time?
I have not.
Okay. Picture this. 1991. You were negative 17 years old. This movie comes out, okay? And they tricked us, people of my age. I'm talking about the movie My Girl. So, Macaulay Culkin, big star, just did Home Alone, smashed Joe Pesci in the face with an iron, probably killed him in real life. We've never seen him since. He's in this movie. The trailer, Dan Aykroyd, fresh off SNL, Ghostbusters, champion. Little Tubby, yeah, Coneheads, little Tubby now, very dad. He was always very dad, really. Anyway, he's playing the father, this really cute girl, and there's this boy who's her best friend, and it seems like a coming of age story, right? And the movie looks like it's about two friends just running around, but there's like this omen of like death because the father is like a funeral director. But you know what? It seems fine. Macaulay Culkin. Then they betrayed us. Like half an hour into this movie, people, Macaulay Culkin's running in a forest with his friend. They're having a great time. He trips on a log. Bees. Just a log full of bees. They sting him all over. John, he was allergic. He died. Okay? So picture this. 10-year-old Peter.
Yep.
Watching this movie with Macaulay Culkin. I'm waiting for Joe Pesci to get hit with an iron in the face. Okay? Macaulay Culkin dies in front of me. Then, next scene. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Wait, they're trying to pretend that he didn't die for the daughter because she's so sad, right? She doesn't understand death because she's young. They have the funeral because the dad's the director. She walks in, sees her dead friend on the plinth, runs up to him. Where are his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. Possibly the worst experience of my life. So I'm saying all this so you understand. Bees are the worst. Bees are terrible. Anybody, like, they're not helping us. They killed Macaulay Culkin. Jerry Seinfeld made a terrible movie with them. They're all liars because you think they're gentle little creatures, but they sting you inside your anus when you least expect it. Then you have a hard time
number
walking
one attack zone.
for 2 to 3 weeks. Screw bees.
Peter,
Hello.
tell me about Ruben's hands.
Ruben Fernandez has hands that are softer than anything you've ever touched in your entire life. Let me tell you something. Like, I don't know how I could, like, have you ever held a baby in your arms? A baby that has just been filled with talcum powder, like covered in talcum powder, not filled, that's gross. But you know, covered in talcum powder, and you're like, wow, this is a soft thing. The baby could be ugly, but you're like, this is so soft and tender. And now imagine that, and then smother that baby in margarine, and then like how slippery that would be. That is Ruben Fernandez's hands. You cannot experience something like that without being changed in your soul.
Can you show me what Ruben touched you with his soft hands?
Well, like, he just grazed my fingers the first time. And then after that, after I started calling him Butterfingers, because that is his true name, like, every time we meet, he makes sure to shake my hand in the limpest way possible so that I know who among us is the alpha.
Why'd you heal so fast? He was like, no idea. Anyway, don't look.
But you're learning. I'm learning.
That's right.
We're here to learn. This is Learning Hammer.
Yeah.
Learning Hammer. This is the weekend. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Our director says yes. It's called Learning Hammer. How do you like being the director?
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, you hate it? You want to join us? Join us on the
What the heck
couch.
does Val think he's doing?
Join us on the couch. Tell us how your weekend's going.
Oh man, I'm very tired.
Yeah? You
Yeah.
can take a nap out here if you want.
Oh, I might just. Yeah, no, I've just been going around, filming people after games, during games. It's doing some in-game footage of some of the tables that aren't being streamed. So even though you might only get to see 3 or 4 minutes of a deployment zone, it's 2 different players, 2 different armies, some pictures of the armies, kind of stuff like that. So it was, that's been super fun.
You get
and
the
nice to do.
feel of the event.
I get the feel of the event, I get to walk around. So yeah, it's been super good. So far, it could still be ruined.
It could be. We've got 2 days left.
Oh god, there's 2 days left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intense, man. This is a lot of games.
It is. So you guys, obviously, single elimination tournament, decided to draw. So good job on that. And then high five.
Yeah.
Good job.
Which then forced Colin to be like, oh, no, we need to figure out a different result here, boys.
Which forced, Daddy Collins come in and just try and figure out some tiebreaker that sounded fair.
Because he was just like, what the?
Which I think you did pretty good on, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would have been really unsatisfying for you both if after like that intense game, you were like, well, let's add up what you killed and do all this kind of things. Like, I don't think that would have been like super satisfying for either of you.
I mean, I definitely didn't kill as much as Danny. I was hanging on with scraps.
So at least you had some chances for 6s to make it all the way through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I feel like Danny being like relatively newer with AdMech and me new to this new Orc Codex, like there's definitely room for growth for both of us. I still say AdMech's probably stronger than Orcs as a codex, but
yeah, I agree. No question.
I will say the chat was really alive during the game about like your performance with Orcs and like how well you did in general, especially because everyone knows AdMech. They're like the boogeyman of 40k right now. But you were like obviously the way it ended, but you right up until the end, you were super close that entire time. What tools in the Orc book do you think it is that allows your list to stay toe-to-toe with like such a meta list like AdMech?
I mean, the vibe I'm getting from Orcs so far is they're fragile, but they're monsters in combat. So I was able to trade pieces. I was able to throw out like, okay, I'm gonna like turn 1. It was like truck boys go up and kill, half a Vanguard squad. And then the war boss chips in a few more. Squig Hogs go in and kill, a squad. Like being able to just throw one thing away, and on this terrain, I at least had a chance to like hide my other assets. So at least I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm throwing crap into him, and yes, he's gonna turn around and with the rest of his army pick up whatever I threw out there, but I'm just keeping him knocked back is what's working, and that was kind of the game plan. I debated whether I should take Stranglehold, but it was like, okay, then I've got to keep putting assets out in the open, looking at the table, versus it's easier to hide things for engage. So the characters are beastly. Like
they are.
They just eat things.
They're very good. War bosses are gross.
Yeah, they are. They walk into armies and.
Which is good. They should be. There's points towards the end of the game where you decided to charge your Storm Boys over and into the Chicken Walkers.
Yeah.
Instead of the OPSEC unit on that objective, which let Daddy get like a 15-point. What made you make that choice?
Well, so the Rangers were with 2 attacks apiece, and they were no longer -1 weapon skill, I believe, at that point. So
they were not.
There was a decent chance that if I charged into the Rangers, they just picked up those 5 Storm Boys. And there was more of them on the objective than me, so I wasn't going to be able to steal the objective from him. But those Chicken Walkers were at an angle where they could try to shoot one of my While We Stand units of rocket trucks. That was already down to 1 truck, so I wanted to keep that alive. And if I tagged them, then he had no way to get to those rocket trucks. And I really was just trying to preserve my While We Stand points.
Yep.
So, Danny, I think this is your first game into New Orcs, right?
Yeah, it was.
So what is your take? Because again, Seth is, as we've said before, like a really great Orc player. He's played Orcs for a long time and kind of has a really great handle on this book now. What is your take on Orcs as a competitive army in the current scene?
I think they're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
cool. Yeah.
I mean,
he likes it. Mikey, he likes it.
They have a lot of really interesting tools. I mean, obviously, I don't think that they're to the same level as AdMech, but I do think they're probably I think they're probably close to sisters, like as far as power level goes. So maybe like not as good as Drakari or AdMech, but like kind of right at that next tier down, which is still great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where we all long to be.
The issue, The issue is with Orcs, I think, is like. Limited command points due to because they have to take multiple detachments to get more of the fighty characters.
Yeah.
So
and then you want relics and warlord traits on them. So then that's costing you CP.
Yep, absolutely. So I think it's tough to make a list that can actually use some of their cool stratagems, but their stratagems are okay. They're not great though, right?
There's some good ones. There's some that are situational. I didn't think about it at the time, but the Storm Boys being they could have I think they have tank buster bombs. I don't know. I have to go back and look if they have the keyword. Lucas says no.
No, sir.
No.
Well, then never mind. I couldn't tank buster bomb the chicken walkers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad for that.
If you cheated, you could.
Yeah,
You need to try harder.
cheating always wins.
It sure does. What was something you did during the game, Seth, that you're like, man, I should not have done that?
So Danny and I were talking about it. There, when the turn one, when I charged up my truck boys with the truck and the the war boss and the boys, I made two mistakes there. One, I charged the truck in, and then in doing that, got it outside of 3 of the war boss. And then ultimately what ended up happening is I had trapped the Cerberus Raiders and had 1-on-1 wound, which was the trapped one. And of course the truck manages to get 2 hits, 2 wounds. Danny fails to save. So then that unit's not trapped anymore. And then, okay, cool. You know, because if they kept that trapped, then those guys protect the war boss.
Yep.
Or even if I did make the charge and kill that unit, if I move the truck correctly, that protects the war boss.
And the truck wasn't on the objective. It was just like the truck placement was probably pretty bad.
Yeah,
but
and
like,
that's the thing I got to learn.
Those little micro things like that have really big like implications.
Yeah.
So and like those are the kinds of things that you really get down when you like. The next time you play, you're not going to make those same kind of mistakes again.
I'm gonna not do that anymore.
Right.
Danny, what was your trademarked wrinkle brain move of the day?
Ooh, I didn't really have one, honestly. It was all pretty obvious, like my moves. I feel like
bang bang.
Yeah.
Put buffs.
Oh,
shoot
you know what it was actually? My wrinkle brain play, and I've thought about it for a while for melee screening. Was the Vanguard. When I left the one guy out of coherency close to the truck boys, so they had to consolidate into him.
Did.
Oh, nice.
And then he died to coherency. And
yeah,
then,
he did. That was a good trick.
Yeah.
Because I had used the 6-inch pile in and consolidate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been.
Man, Danny, you and using morale to get out of being trapped places is like a key McDivitt move. Well, I'm gonna go edit this, put it up, so hopefully it'll be up on a stream in 3 hours. Or 3 hours from ago, whatever. There's a link in this bottom corner, or this bottom corner.
One of them.
tinyurl.com/charityhammer, because I got sick of trying to remember the official one. And then also scan the QR code in the corner, and that'll take you right to the donation site as well. Every $30 you donate gets you an entry into a raffle.
Hell yeah.
With literally still thousands of dollars of prizes. And a luxury blanket.
One luxury blanket, which will be signed by John and I. Well, by John.
Well,
you know what? He's going to forge my signature. So
it'll be signed by me and me pretending to be Danny.
Yep.
So until next time, ta-da.
I can't even. You make one scars, man. No, because it's like
I want to. So it's like a team thing.
I always forget that I run sectors or I have actually.
What's the range on these guys?
I have done that.
Oh, sorry, these guys? No.
I'm picking up a little bit, shoot like 15 inches. It wouldn't see it going.
It's starting the game, I was like, I'm going
These
to
guys are
lose
like
this
48, 30.
unless you
Oh,
come
they're
at
still
me,
36.
and you have no reason.
Do they ignore heavy penalties from
So I have to go to you.
them? No, I don't have anything that naturally ignores cover. Not cover, but ignore a nice one for
do
movement.
this thing that I just didn't do.
Yes, they're like it's some sort of like platform
anyway.
on them that they're.
But afterwards, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm gonna go lay down. And Anthony was on my couch.
Okay.
Just left. Okay, well, I'll go sleep on Anthony's couch. I don't care. It's not on Anthony's couch. Well, but and Brad gets up and plays game. I was asleep on the chair.
Can you put me on the most
Fell asleep, woke
extreme
up like
point?
45
So is
minutes
this
later, Brad was
that
already back.
was the most extreme angle, right?
Oh, you can
1, 2.
I'm stealing you.
Yeah, I came across this.
Oh,
You did not
right,
wait.
right,
Oh,
right
I got
there
you.
is more. So I'm way safer.
Okay.
Yep. These guys are tracked.
Would you like me to take over the things that you're doing and let you go sleep?
You normally got snipes, right?
I'll tell you when I hit the wall.
We need to figure out at some point. We need to have somebody doing the spreadsheet and stuff when Nathan's here. Oh, you know what we should have? We should do that.
Yeah,
I bet because he'll be.
So it's the front unit, the back unit? There's only one guy on the back unit on it. don't really score too much. It doesn't matter at all. Which one's the vacuum please? The one I've never seen. A little bit back so there's less shooting. He doesn't need to be on the line. Can you put this one in effectively the same position? Yeah, I'm trying to use those corners so that if you want to pop out this way or this way, you don't have to angle. I mean, this way and that way, you can't do much about it. Another guy down. Nice little advance.
I'm on the defense.
I could be thinking about the decision.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I tried to pick it up by the sail. The sail came off. I was like,
Can you guys make sure your mic's
Hello?
Yeah, that's me. And scroll down and see what Danny does.
No, it's the same one.
Which one is it?
There's not separate.
Oh, it's shared. It's a shared feed. Okay, but am I showing up on there?
Yeah.
All right, we good. Good chat here.
That's the final question.
Is Danny moist already?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Bridger, talk to me. Hello. How's it going? Didn't see any over there.
Karen is into admin? Andy, 1 second.
Hey, you go second. That's about it.
There's a chance the player still pulls out as long as Alex goes first. So if Alex has a 80% win rate going second, he still has going first, he still has 100% loss.
I really like all the work he did, just still lose like entire squads because of admax bullshit. That's my favorite part. I wrapped these 6 guys, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm just gonna spend some being.
Well, so far our losers are the 4, 5, and 7 seeds.
Yeah.
Oh, because Alex got by Hank?
Yeah. Alex, Rich, and Vessel, all done.
Oh, Vessel, no, he's there.
Oh, well, Rich lost?
Yeah, Lucas got him.
Oh, Lucas got Rich?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you fucked my bracket up.
That's what Lucas is here to do.
I mean, it's not that I don't have faith in you, it's just I just know Rich is really good. So I was like, that's
As long as you
alright.
look at the list, and you're like, oh, Rich, it looks like Rich read the New Orcs Codex. And Lucas didn't.
Oh, I don't care. You got mustard all over your like all over it.
What is your question?
What's the next question? Because I measured from here.
Prize.
Priority target.
Deployment zone. That would not actually be the table we're playing on. But if you would like to deploy your army back there, I would go ahead and win. That'd be
Oh
fine.
my god. You know what? I'm supposed to be the one that went to bed early last night. But now my old age is showing.
I actually.
Hilton, when's your birthday?
Colin, you said the bikes aren't very good. Why aren't they very good? I have to play against them.
What's up, John?
Oh, it's so much easier.
No, the jet bikes.
I'm so much farther
Oh,
forward.
were you like, how am I gonna win this game?
I'm like, God, it's so far.
The gears are turning your head like he's gonna be all over this, all the way up there. Why'd I pick that side? But
I mean, they're crazy fast.
So,
they're witches in combat.
It's minus 1.
They can reroll wounds because they're witches. and they have 3 appliances that will
We
bend.
lost this one, but I got
Keep answers are melted.
Your bikes go 20 if they lose the booster. Oh, they lose the bike. They lose that. Okay. So they would go at most like probably like 8 times.
I'll find some looser clothing if I'm not going to be Steve. I got this.
If I get the latest +1,
If I'm not going to be Steve, Steve is just
would matter.
like, it's a massive joke.
That makes sense.
There were jokes.
They were funny.
They're inside.
like turned around and confused, and that's happened. So double flamer here. Sure. For 5 shots. How many are there? 6. Fuck you. Fuck me. I deserved that. 2s. God.
How many ones?
2.
Naturally.
Enough. They have morale, right?
Leadership 8.
Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so I guess we'll shoot. Just start dunking dark lances at stuff. Sure. We'll shoot across into him.
Into the big guy?
Yep, so 4. Oh, try again. Nice. 4. Nice.
Nope.
Damage. 2. That works. 4. Yep. Cool. Thank you for being smarter than me. As discussed before, we'll put the dark lance and 2 blasters into big homie. So lance, wounds.
Cool.
Have it.
Yeah.
5.
9.
Blasters. Dweets. No. I don't think they're poison. Oh, that poison has to be moved, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that many shots. 4s, and then you're gonna save on 2s. Nice.
That's shot. Cherubs are gone. They shot. Doesn't have a gun. Doesn't have a gun. Not doing that. Okay, I'm gonna finish my shooting phase by getting a Gemini back.
You got it.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, look at that charge extender.
Charge extender, indeed. Charge extendo, and then she's full out now. She's awesome. All right. End of my shooting phase will get a miracle dice, so I'll want one. It's a 6. That's much better. So 1, 6, 6 are my current showing miracle dice. You have a Telemon. The Telemon can Overwatch. It's a really adorable thing. It's the beginning of the charge phase.
Yep.
Anything you have in mind? No? Not gonna do it? No. Not gonna do it?
I need my CP.
Okay. See, at that point, that makes me want to do it.
Go for it.
I think I am. We're gonna drop CP. I have not gained it back. Let's try it on a 5.
Oh, 5 up.
Hey.
It's free.
Alright, so those are Pancha right there. Fall back into charge. You go. Because we're within 6 of the Dogmata, as we discussed. And we're gonna do some fun stuff now. Alright, Celestine is going to charge the Telemon.
Okay.
And these got bumped a little bit, but I'm trying to leave room. Sure. I don't want that to suck.
Yeah, you
so we're just charging the Telemon. And that's, I think I passed, but it's like the worst pass I've ever seen in my life. Am I within 3 with the Gemini?
No idea.
Jenna Lena tell me, I think I am, but it's kind of close, and you know that's a bad thing to be wrong about, right?
Do we have that one of those 3 entry things?
I don't. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, you're in. You're in.
Men? All right.
Yeah, you're in. Very tight, but you're in.
It sucks, but we're gonna roll it.
It was basically exactly what I needed.
Okay. And the Repentance are gonna discharge both.
5. Then let's get the party going. And just getting out the Kraken Moss.
They're basically gonna swing all the way
It's the
around.
killer. Gets a 1 for his natural.
These ones are gonna go
Attack raise. Then the Mega Knobs. They're gonna advance. Also, gonna go. Let me get out. It's gonna be 10 inches, let's say. It's questionable right here.
Someone has to end within the Telemon.
They set up a charge. Actually, they don't want to advance at all. I got custom shooters too. That's cool. Custom shooters. Make names.
And then just make sure I'm not dumb. And still within 6.
Okay. Swift buggies, just adjusting, get those better protection levels. Alright, this is turn free for me. So all the reserves are come down. This turn. There is no free for this anymore.
No, you gotta go. If you don't go now, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, all my stuff dies off board.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta go. That's why I kind of did what I did. I'm like, well, it's either gonna be what it is or it isn't.
So
more than the 6.
we go right there.
I have 661 showing.
So we don't want Forrest is a little awkward, which is one of the reasons why we pursued that so much.
Yep, I specifically said I want him to outflank. If he is, he's gonna end up in a forest over there.
Yep.
That was the intent.
So really, I think I'm just going to put these guys here. Because honestly, I'm just going to accept the Forest Love. And if they get a charge, they're rolling 11 on their charge, they're rolling 11 on their charge. Not much I can do about that.
No, that's smart.
I record this dumb game.
Don't tell the viewers about my fire and fake turn 1 and 2 explosion.
It's all cool. Or you pull away from a free heroic, kill 2 buggers. Sorry, I'm gonna command phase some stuff. So, let's just buff everybody, dude. It's a good time.
I forgot to use Mortarian's Chapter Master.
He Chapter Masters himself every turn.
He said that.
No, he didn't. Can I kill those on heroic?
Fucking take meds.
How you doing, John? I'll go up to 5.
You should charge these guys. They have damage 3 jobs.
Okay. That's alright.
Mortal wounds.
I think not. Tight.
These, watch 5 Wing Riders kill Mortarian on combat phase.
I'm excited to see anything.
They hit on 1s against him.
That's great.
My husband is useless against this army. That's hilarious.
Sounds like it won't cast it. So is turning off rerolls once more.
I have 0 moves.
No, all my debuffs in your armies are like totally wrong.
I don't have any of them.
Look at all these ones.
Oh wait, I have 1 Desco reroll.
Well, not anymore, dude.
No, he's back here.
One more time. That was great, dude. I took like half the ones I took damage. I think I did 11 mortals to myself.
2 wounds. Double 6. Sounds great. That feed on which card? Okay. Oh wow. 2 AP1s and 1 AP. Beautiful. Then the keeper. There's relic, sword gives reduction swing. 8 swords at your boss. 7 sword hits. Blue sword, only once. 7 normal 6.
How much damage piece? 3?
Happy to be here. Nice. Everything's around my slopes.
You don't have any more deep breath, right?
No. Thank you, bye.
We did roll 1 job, now what, get lost?
Now I gotta go see. I can't just sit here and talk about it.
They're in here. How will you rattle any deck that I think you can see? There's no way. Don't even, there's no way. Okay?
Yeah, I figured, right?
It doesn't feel good, but because the 2 other walls are sort of forward and staggered,
Mhm.
it doesn't allow for many like angles to come in from the sides because you don't have your sides for protection.
Mhm.
But there's no like there's no like line through here or this way where you can actually get to you.
So if he's getting me, it's just with dogs, basically.
Yeah, and you can flip those out.
Are you ready for me to just deploy the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Master strategist. Deploy the line, win the roll off.
Like
game over.
You cannot table this in 1 turn.
I can
I'll do +1 to wounds, but I'll put one of them into here. Another sergeant. So these are the 3 hitting that redemptor on 2s, rolling everything that's not a 6. No 6s, so just 1. And 2 dice, please. And then I wound on 4s, just +1 wound into the T7 one.
We're doing what?
4s, just +1 to wound. This is into the T7. So 8, 11 saves. AP2? 4 wounds. AP2. So 5 of them ones.
Are you an assault doctor?
Yes.
Okay. I'm dead? I didn't blow up, that would have been hilarious.
5 attacks into the other one, being on 2s, not 6s, rolling everything. 1, 1, 1, 6, explodes. Wounding on 5s because you're T8. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. All of them. 6 saves on your aim one.
I'll get back to you.
Okay. Stuck forward. What? Wait, I'm alive? Why am I alive? Why is this camera in the middle here? Because I decided to start dancing in front of John. John said, I'm going to get a minute of content out of you. So I'm going to be here for probably not quite a minute because I can't count. Anyway, flipping this update right over here. Mixing some serious poo-poo shit. I don't know what's going on fully over there. Death Watch is scary. There's a lot of on the line. Their armies are like this on the front lines. Okay. Jamie went first against Ultramarines, and I don't know fully what's going on. The aim state looks funky as hell. I haven't looked in there. I haven't looked in the pool house. I'm here. Goodbye. Take care. Be brutal cutting.
I'll try not to swear as much as I usually do.
He didn't have the stomach to stay on this video. He had
Then
to
I'm
run
just
out.
gonna sit like Jay and Silent Bob like I usually do with fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, like sometimes, like if I will sometimes like treat myself to a stream, you know, like my kid's playing Twilight, he's like reading a book or something like that, you know.
I'm not even
like beer or something like that, and I'll just watch it. But usually it's like I got stuff to do, and I do that.
I'm lazier than that because if I want to find out when something happens, I'll actually call.
Okay,
Be like,
Zingers,
did
do you
anything
have the
cool happen that I want to see? And
then
they're like, fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right now, I feel like unless it's like John and I talking to sisters, I feel like
I don't know what
if I call
what's
one of them, a lot of
precedence?
times it just feels like the
And then the shaman gives them
So with John and I, it's a little more two-way. But then also having gone over to like up to their house, I went to their house last weekend, and they just like ragdolled me for 2 days straight.
Fuck.
It's cool. I brought my dog up. You know, they had fun.
Okay,
He
so
had
it's
lots
not
of
bad.
pets. But they loved it, but it was just like right now. I see how busy they are.
There's so much.
So
I just
want to
don't call
play.
because I feel like
so
at
I'm
that
going to
point,
start
it's
with
like coaching call.
MSU rubric.
I do like Rubric is nobody wants to lose, but man,
jumping
you
or
so much
rhinos with flamers, and then rubrics just
Well,
sitting back.
the reason why I went up there is
and then cleaning up.
because I feel like
we didn't look
when we're
at
generally
chaplain
like,
prayers.
secondaries, my stretch feels fine.
We still have a little bit to go.
Micro feels fine.
And then I need to figure out how to play hero.
My technical combat phase and charge phase maneuvers
There's a
have gotten
30-inch
so much better than they were a year
prayer
ago.
that's
And
-2
I've
to
clutched a
advance
lot of
charge.
games.
Yeah, you
just
pick a
that.
unit, you're like, oh, those demonettes.
And it does one
And
more.
it feels like now I think I'm hitting that
Because
that
then you can
glass ceiling full.
Is that Curse from Sigmar?
Yes. No, Christian Sigmar is
Ruben, Parker,
-1
Reggie, everything. I'm like, hey.
no.
what do
Every
you think
six
my
every
strengths,
6 to
my
hit is a
weaknesses,
more
what
than
you
Oh,
think
yeah.
my play style
Doombolt? Can you stop?
because I don't trust myself to
Doombolt just
analyze
sucks now.
Well, hold on. There might be
So
another
if I
spell
ask
not
other people,
called
it gets a lot of
Doombolt.
speed back,
Right?
and I know like what I
The
can stop
spell
working
now
on,
called
what I can start
Doombolt
working
is
on. And I can
cast
also
on
know like,
6,
what factions
flat
are
creation in your
jive with how I like to
Oh,
play.
it's 100% please.
But there might
So
They are.
all of them are like you're a very defensive, cagey player. Your head math is excellent. It's super rare that when you commit to shooting something, it doesn't die. They said, however, it seems like for the most part, you come out and turn.
There's this one called Baleful Devotion, which is one of the higher cast ones, and it
That's kinda
seems
like,
really
okay,
good.
well,
You
let's
have to
work
pick a
on
visible unit
how do I
with
work
6
on
or more
tempo?
models, but then
And so
roll
I went
a
up there, I got
d6
ragdolled for 2
equal
days
to the
straight. We also
result
tested like
of,
GWGT.
roll a
We
number
did
of
some
dice
workshop
equal to the
so
result
there
of
was
the
value
psychic
gained out of
test,
it.
which is minimum 8.
Nick was testing New York.
though you can modify it.
John was testing
And,
and
then on a
this
6
might
you
be a
do
spoiler for
D3.
that.
So it's like Sigmar, Zinch's
I haven't figured out.
Firestorm.
I played this match
And
like
then
9
there's
times.
also
I can't crack it.
So say you cast on it.
We did. We're like, well, it is actually hard.
Then you
Spoiler,
pick
but
up 8
you go to
dice.
super major event. What are the odds?
D3 rolls. But
Unless
if
you buy
you,
Temple and they're good.
it's not unmodified.
So that was an interesting find.
It's the result of the cycle.
That
So
was
if you
super
roll
good
like
GWGT.
a 9 with Armon as a
And it
plus
turns
2
out
caster, and then you bump it
essentially,
up
I
to
was
a 12,
it turns out that when
roll
I
12
play,
d6, and your 6 is
I'm
your
afraid
d3
of taking
mortals.
damage by the material early. I'm like hyper afraid of it. I think I've just been
And then,
touched by what's
then you can do a bunch of cool stuff. You can be like, oh, my Rubik's I just, or my Rubik's I just jumped over here. They almost see that behind here. And just
so now my positioning is bad.
You can like
And then what ends
spell
up
portal
happening
with
is I get to
Rubik's.
pull wildly.
How does the
because I sit there, I'm great target.
D3 damage does 3? Is that only on a smite?
And I basically tread water and wait for
Oh,
my
I don't know. I
mistake.
haven't looked at that.
And then I
Then
explode out and
actual
game
Zinch's Firestorm is just on 5.
too late, you're down.
No, it's on 5 if you.
John, have you heard of the saddest movie of all time?
I have not.
Okay. Picture this. 1991. We were negative 17 years old. This movie comes out, okay? And they tricked us, people of my age. I'm talking about the movie My Girl. So, Macaulay Culkin, big star, just did Home Alone, smashed Joe Pesci in the face with an iron, probably killed him in real life. We've never seen him since. He's in this movie. The trailer, Dan Aykroyd, fresh off SNL, Ghostbusters, champion. Little tubby, yeah, Coneheads, little tubby now, very dad. He was always very dad, really. Anyway, he's playing the father, this really cute girl, and there's this boy who's her best friend, and it seems like a coming of age story, right? And the movie looks like it's about 2 friends just running around, but there's like this omen of like death because the father is like a funeral director, but you know, fine. Macaulay Culkin. Then they betrayed us. Like half an hour into this movie, people, Macaulay Culkin's running in a forest with his friend. They're having a great time. He trips on a log. Bees. Just a log full of bees. They sting him all over. John, he was allergic. He died. Okay? So picture this. 10-year-old Peter. Watching this movie with Macaulay Culkin. I'm waiting for Joe Pesci to get hit with an iron in the face. Okay? Macaulay Culkin dies in front of me. Then, next scene. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Wait, they're trying to pretend that he didn't die for the daughter because she's so sad, right? She doesn't understand death because she's young. They have the funeral because the dad's the director. She walks in. Sees her dead friend on the plinth. Runs up to him. Where are his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. Possibly the worst experience of my life. So I'm saying all this so you understand. Bees are the worst. Bees are terrible. Anybody, like, they're not helping us. They killed Macaulay Culkin. Jerry Seinfeld made a terrible movie with them. They're all liars because you think they're gentle little creatures, but they sting you inside your anus when you least expect it. Then you have a hard time
number
walking
one attack zone is
for
the
2 to
anus.
3 weeks. Screw bees.
Peter,
hello.
Tell me about Ruben's hands.
Ruben Fernandez has hands that are softer than anything you've ever touched in your entire life. Let me tell you something. Like, I don't know how have you ever held a baby in your arms? A baby that has just been filled with talcum powder, like covered in talcum powder, not filled, that's gross. But you know, covered in talcum powder, and you're like, wow, this is a soft thing. The baby could be ugly, but you're like, this is so soft and tender. And now imagine that, and then smother that baby in margarine, and then like how slippery that would be. That is Ruben Fernandez's hands. You cannot experience something like that without being changed in your soul.
Can you show me where we touched you with the soft hands?
Well, like, he just grazed my fingers the first time.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Run! We are doing the illustrious second / final round of the walk-off.
Yeah. What's WOG got to do? Got to do with it?
Got to do. We've both brought some orc shit that matters to us.
Yes.
Some orc stuff that
Orc,
matters.
orc things, because this is a PG stream. Chuck.
Orc things that matter to us. Yeah, I play here a lot. You'd think I would
remember,
be able to handle that.
Yeah, you know.
It's not true.
It's not.
So for my list, I have brought 27 orc bikes of the goth variety, 1 Gazskull and his little Makari, 3 Dakajets, a couple of squads of 5 commandos, 10 truck boys in a truck with a Mega Armor Warboss, and 1 Squigosaur murder machine. What do you got, Seth?
I decided that the best type of orcs are freebooters because all of my orcs have striped red pants.
Yeah?
That is my logic, and I'm sticking to it. So I took an outrider and a patrol of freebooters. My warlord is the Deathkiller Wartrike. He has the Bad Skull Banner, which is a 6-inch radius of no obsec for your opponent. And he has the Art as Nails Warlord trait for -1 to wound. I have a Beast Boss and Squigosaur. He is taking the ubiquitous Brutal but Cunning and Beast type Mantle. I have a unit of 10 Gretchen. I have 3 units of 5 Commandos. I have a unit of 5 Storm Boys, 2 units of 5 Squig Hog Riders, 2 units of 2 Rocket Truck Squig Buggies, a single Rocket Truck Squig Buggy, the yellow one here, being the one with Nitro Squigs. And then, not last but least, I have 9 War Bikes and 2 Jackajets. And that is the list. Right now I'm keeping the 5 Storm Boys in reserve, but everything else is going to be going on the table here very shortly.
All right, I have kept 10 Gretchen and 5 Commandos in reserve as well. We'll just finish deploying here and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
Well, I mean by we will finish deploying, mostly Seth will finish deploying.
Seth has more crap.
Oh my god, he's so slow.
He is slowest of the orcs.
Slow playing me over here already.
Yeah. Now, Chuck, I'll have you know that earlier today, I faced the Gazgul in single combat and destroyed him.
Yeah, my Gazgul died too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Charity Hammer. We are in the final of the best WA boss or the WA off. I am joined by fellow countryman and compatriot Ennis Wilson. Ennis, how are you doing today?
I am. It's yesterday for me, I think, or tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, doing good, John. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first cast of this Charity Hammer, and I am very happy to be here. I'm not very happy to be commentating this game because I am well known for despising orc, but we'll live with that.
Well, I think we should really focus on the fact that while the orcs are bad, there's nothing worse than an orc player, and we are seeing 2 of the worst, therefore best here. The finals of our WoW between Seth, author, and Chuck, representing their separate podcast entertainment things. They got here. Chuck beat Rich Kilton by 1 point in the last round, and then Seth, whether the second round was Seth, Ennis. The second round was Seth versus Lucas, which was won by 2 points. So 2 very close games, points-wise, but a bit of a bloodbath in the Seth game here. I'm getting ready to see this final.
The one good thing about any orc game is that all the orcs die. So that's the main thing I'm looking forward to here, is seeing all of this stuff go away.
No matter who wins, we both win by seeing it all. We're seeing 2 very fast orc lists. Now we're seeing a whole bunch of prototypes coming out of that new book. This game is using the new orc codex that came out in the Beast Naga box. Chuck is running a lot of bikes on a lot of planes. What are those warbikers doing for Chuck?
Yeah, so those Warbikers are all going to be punching at +1 strength in combat, so I believe they're just strength 4 base, but they go to strength 5, and they're getting something like 108 shots per squad when they go into their speed wall turn, with all that -1 AP goodness. He's running Gaz, so he's getting the bonus of that, and also the advance in charge and +1 attack. So he's going to be going in doing a lot of damage with those bikers, and then he's also got the Darker Jets, which are going to be doing much the same thing. And then on Seth's side, we're seeing the freebooter style, so he's got a lot more of those Rocket Truck Swig Buggies, which is the indirect that are doing the 2 damage. He's also got 2 planes, a nice big squad of 9 bikes, and the Deathkiller Wartrike with the turning off Obsec Aura, which will probably be quite relevant here as they're scrapping over objectives. But we are seeing here that Chuck has got the first turn and positioned up very aggressively with his Darker Jets. going to just start trying to rain down on all those things that are causing problems. We're also seeing what looks like the Beast Boss and Squigosaur coming up to that bottom objective. So it looks like they're just going to be getting stuck in early, as you would expect from two war bosses of this caliber. And that honestly makes me sick to say, but I will, because it's what I'm here for.
You know, someone has to say nice things about them. We drew the short straw on this one and not say, okay, if we could have an update from the table about what each player took for their secondary, hopefully that'll gain some insight. Okay, perfect. So it looks like for secondaries here, let me see here. Chuck took engage, bring it down and retrieve Octaria's data, and Seth took
Stranglehold?
Stranglehold, assassinate, and to the last. I mean, we got through it. We got it done.
Yeah, so what we're seeing there is that Chuck has gone for very, like, during the game secondary, so he's going to be trying to get those engage points early and often. Bring it down is just by killing stuff, and then Rod is going to be just something that he kind of naturally picks up as the game goes on. Whereas Death has very much taken secondaries that require him to keep playing, so that to the last is going to be, I believe, the squad of Warbikers, and then probably something like the squads of Buggies, maybe the Daka Jets. I'm not 100% sure on that. Right. Cool. So we're just getting confirmation that is the Megatrax and the two squads of two buggies. So we're going to see a lot of tension there, with Chuck having bring it down, and then Seth having a very high incentive to protect those units due to having to the last on them. And then he's also got Stranglehold, which means that he's going to really need to be getting onto those middle objectives. As you can see at the moment, I've got a bunch of planes on them. Orcs notorious for having lots of stuff that flies and can charge planes. Wait, no, I mean the other thing. So we're probably going to see Chuck have to do, or Seth have to do some work there to take Chuck off those objectives and get on them himself. Having that turn off opposite core on his Death Killer Wartrike is definitely going to help there, because it means that he just needs to sneak one object model onto it and he gets to take it himself. So we can definitely see that playing a big part here, but there's going to be a big strap with all those Warbikes in the middle. We're going to have to see some work getting done here.
what are some of those benefits there from Seth took his to the last with those two Megatrix squads? What makes them such great targets for that secondary?
Well, honestly, they're the most resilient thing in his list, right? He's just banking on Chuck not having the damage output to kill them, because they're sitting on that decent armor save. Once he starts doing damage to the things that can kill them, if they're not super easy to take down, which is like the generic orc firepower, you're not going to put them down with random bolter shots from the orc war buggies that are hitting on fives, and then you could potentially pop the speedwell stratagem for like the AoE smoke screen, and then that puts all of the orcs up hitting them on sixes. Chuck's playing Goths, he's not playing freebooters like Seth is, so Seth's going to be, so he can't stack those bonuses to hit. So without anything like Beast Snaggers that are getting the +1, unless he gets that Beast Bottom Squigosaur in there, they've probably got a pretty decent chance of living if they live through this turn and don't get jammed up with all those Warbikers in combat. So I think if Seth can weather the storm here, he's going to be in a good position to keep those alive. It's just going to have to see how much this devastating first turn can do here. And I say devastating because it's still orc shooting, right?
Right, for sure. And if you look at how aggressive Chuck is being, moving those planes up and getting some really good firing lines, the sheer amount of dice that are being rolled out of this army is going to be really hard to weather through. Also, we look at the way he's positioning himself, kind of protecting those objectives a little bit, which is going to cause Seth some struggles getting some stranglehold for holding those three.
Yeah, exactly. It's just making Seth have to commit resources in order to take Chuck off of the objectives to get his own, and then Chuck doesn't really have to go much past the halfway line to get his engage points, but those planes are going to be a problem because planes can score engagement, they can't score behind enemy lines, or they obviously can't score stranglehold. So Seth just gets to roll a massive pile of dice. Uh, sorry, that derailed my thought. I'm assuming that's one Daka jet firing. I believe in the Speedwater turn they get 42 shots a model or something to that order.
Seems perfectly balanced. Thankfully, they have a trash to hit roll, so we'll
Of
see
4.
how that goes.
Yeah.
Of 4? Oh, that's right. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, they lost the +1 to hit. It's the was bomb to hit on 4s. So yeah, we're seeing them hitting on 5s here, but that still looks like a good clutch of hits. So I'm assuming this is going into those, trying to kit down some of those to the last points early and get a nice lead on the bring it downs.
And those are some good hits. And it looks like Seth popped a 2 CP strat to make everything within 6 inches of the buggy be -1 to hit, which is a great play to really try and protect. -1 to hit really does hurt that orc army.
Yeah, well, it literally halves your output, right? So I'm expecting we'll see Seth use that more than once, especially as those bikers start coming in.
And it looks like he's still being quite conservative with the bikers being back there. They don't have fantastic lines of sight. They can see under sort of the wings if you look right beside each of the objective markers. Is there a particular reason you're thinking that Chuck is keeping all of his bikes on that back line?
Well, I'm assuming that that Chuck hasn't popped his wildest turn, so there's no advance in charge, and this just gives him a really good position for next turn to be able to bring them all out, and then they can either advance in charge, or if he's not quite close enough at that point, pop the lots of shots they get with the +1 shot for each of their 2 Daka guns for being in Speedwa. So I expect that we'll see this is kind of like a I'm going to sit just outside your threat range. You're just inside mine, even if you back off. And if you back off, you're not going to be getting your stranglehold points. So that's how Chuck's trying to leverage this first turn to make sure that he's getting the points, while Seth can't, or Seth has to commit a lot of resources and take the risk of just getting punched first.
I'm just happy that in this final of who is the best orc war boss, we're seeing really cagey play and keeping the majority of our army hidden away from the front lines.
Well, the front line is scary and dangerous, and all of those buggies have guns. So I think we're getting a little bit of safety play here. And it makes sense. You don't want to be the one that loses the orc war boss off, right? That's just utterly devastating because you'd have to live with that shame for the rest of your orc playing career.
Not
You're not the
only
best orc
the
war boss.
shame of being an orc war boss, but being the worst orc war boss.
You're an orc war boss, and you're not even a good one. Like, there's no redeeming qualities there.
Both of these lists make use of a lot of the upgrades that came from that new orc book. Seth with his wagon, the Daka jets there. What are some of the tools that Seth has from this new book to really counteract all of the guns and kind of fast movement from Chuck?
So we're definitely seeing a lot of new things, like the rocket truck squig buggies were definitely not a thing you would have seen in the previous book, but they have seen a massive upgrade. So they've got their guns are now 2d6 shots indirect with +1 to hit at 36 inch range, and then they get an extra 1, which is just another d6 shots at 18 inch range with no +1 to hit. So they're very reliable at putting out a lot of strength 5, 2 damage, firepower down range. So stuff like these war buggies with their 2 or 3 wounds aren't going to love that AP. They're getting wounded on 5s. Which isn't ideal for them, but there's the nitro buggy one, which has the +1 to wound, which is the single yellow one you see in sort of the middle of Seth's deployment. So those strike buggies, they do a lot of damage for 90 points. The war bikers obviously saw a massive upgrade. As you can see, Chuck has 27 of them. I don't imagine one of the potential best war bosses would be playing a unit that wasn't massively improved. And then obviously you've got the terrifying combat characters in the Squigosaurs, which I believe both players are running. We've got variations of warlord traits on them. I believe Chuck is running his with Bro but Cunning, so that's like Drakari competitive edge. So that's just a terrifying combat threat that's very hard to deal with in shooting because it's a character. And then if you do catch it out, it's toughness 7 with -1 damage. And then once it gets into combat, it's going to rip through anything that goes into it that isn't like a knight-sized unit, especially if it gets to interrupt. So you're not going to be doing it with one bow units. You got to put one thing into that. So that's why we're seeing stuff like the 27 bikes, because you can put a squad of bikes in, and as devastating as one of those things is, it's not going to kill a full squad. And then those bikers have a decent chance of ripping one out of its saddle. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of stuff like that from Chuck, who knew he was coming into an orc mirror. So when you know you're coming to an orc mirror, you can tech for the stuff you know you're going to see, and that's probably stuff that dies to Daka jets and stuff that dies to bikes in combat. So it's good to see that sort of level of metagaming from 2 very competent players here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seth running freebooters. What's their special kind of clan culture there?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of insultingly good. I would describe it as it's basically a board-wide ability that every time a freebooter's unit kills another unit, the entire army gets +1 to hit, and that stacks multiple times. So if you kill 4 units, you get +4 to hit. Obviously, with the 9th edition rules changes, that still only increases your ballistic skill by functionally 1, but it does mean that it counteracts the -1 to hit of those Daka jets, or if there's any I believe there's a smoke screen stratagem that orc warbikers can use. So anything like that, Seth can very quickly build up that like hot streak and get the +1, +2, +3 to hit to start taking those out and hitting through dense cover or anything like that. So he can potentially be getting back up to hitting those Daka jets on 4s with his orc bikes even at -1 to hit. So that would be really interesting to see if he can get up to that.
And Chuck has some large units and some tough targets here. There are 2 units of commandos in here that are got to be prime targets for Seth to really pop that culture early. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chuck is running Goth. What is their clan culture coming out of that new book?
Yeah, so Goths get exploding 6s to hit, so any 6 they roll to hit in combat is an additional hit, and then also they get +1 strength when they charge or make a heroic intervention, or I believe get charged, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But definitely when they're going on the offense. And then their stratagem is for 2 CP, that becomes exploding 5, so 5 plus the hit. So that's a very good way when you've got that massive attacks from. You've got rerolls to hit from Gaz, you've got the extra attack from the water, and then you also get the exploding 5, so you just get to wail down a rain of fire. If you've ever played against something like Death to the False Emperor Possessed, where they were popping out extra attacks on 5s with like the 40 attack to squad, these Warbreakers are doing exactly the same thing, but they're doing it against all stuff, not just Imperium. So expect those to hit with a really heavy weight. One thing I do like that Chuck's done here, I just want to say, is you see how these 2 Jacka-Jets at the bottom of the screen are positioned in a way that there's nowhere that one of Seth's Jets can really land in between that terrain and a Jet. So notice how there's nowhere for that Jet to land, which means that Seth isn't going to be able to use his planes to move block these bikers in. Because as I was saying, with Seth not having anything that can charge into these Jets, the same is obviously true for Chuck. He would have to deal with them in shooting, which is just obviously not an efficient way when your orcs at -1 to hit. So this really clever positioning from these planes here has blocked Seth from doing a blocking play. So these Warbreakers are going to get to come straight into Chuck's lines. Come straight from Chuck are going to get straight into Seth's lines next turn. There's not much you can really do about it. There's no block at the top side of the screen, but I think that Chuck just assumed that that's not the way he wants to go, and that he's very much set up this nice avenue for himself with those planes.
Would you say he blocked off the lower Regenerative with the 2 planes because it's kind of a softer target range at the very bottom as opposed to the top, where it's a much more mechanized area?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where the big squad of bikers is. So that's the kind of thing that they're getting blocked from going through themselves, but also they're blocking the plane so that truck stuff can go into that meaty juice. There's also more of the 2 last units are on this side. Like that's the squad of 3 mega tracks at the front. That's the kind of thing that Chuck wants to be charging. So I really like this play. I really like this play from Chuck here.
Yeah, it's a super wrinkle brain play. Super good. Ilga and Crane's asking, where are the squig dice? We do want to point out that Seth has threatened to take nothing but the orc squig dice for his game against Danny. He's not a monster who would take that against Chuck. However, those dice were turned down because, much like orcs in general, they are terrible. So they are not in use during this game, and we are just using those easy to read black and red dice.
Yeah, that's very good for my sanity. I might start having a minor fits if I was trying to play if I was trying to commentate at half hour in the morning and look at squig dice. That's just not a thing I'm in for.
Yep, absolutely. Looks like we're getting an update from the table real quick. Oh, yeah, okay. So I
We are
still
going
let
to
people
take a
know.
minor break and let some player audio come through for you.
And
I'm going to take my headphones off.
We're going to take our headphones off and go cry. And I would assume everyone in the chat would like to mute.
Falcon is Innis listening? Come on. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Thank you.
I feel like if they know I'm back, they're going to do it again.
So just as a heads up here, I am helping commentate this game from an area at the Charity Hammer area, hidden away, sequestered, so I could get some peace and quiet and commentate this game within it. I could still hear that audio damage where I am. So thank you, Seth, for whying. As you guys can tell, Seth whyed in his first turn, going for that hyper aggressive play.
I'm pretty sure I heard Chuck wah as well. That means Chuck used his ability too, right? He doesn't get to wait. He's one and done.
And
yeah, they've all used wah. That's how it works. They can't use wah for the next.
So
the
we
entire
just found
next
out
game.
from the table that all members of the Best WA Boss tournament came in and WA'd. So Richard and Lucas are now not able to use a WA in their next game, wherever that might be, as they have already used it in this game.
So
So
look at
you
this
are
here.
those.
So these war bikes are going right in. They're going to have to hit a really long charge, and this plane's going to have to die before they can get into those bikes of Chucks. So like I said, that move blocking play really coming in clutch here. We're also
What do
seeing that Darker Jet go up the back. That's probably going to go and try and maybe pick up some of these bikes, or set up that hot streak on one of these backfield units. For Chuck's turn, we only saw like some minor damage, so we saw like some Squig Hog boys go away, a couple of random boys, a squad of commandos, stuff like that. So nothing major. So he didn't actually end up going for these the last plays. It wasn't his Wa turn, so I will was slightly mistaken there that he didn't go for the Wa. I realize I would have heard it now that I think about it. So it looks like we're just going. Seth is going for broke this turn. He has called his Wa. That means he is going to be popping his advancing charge and his plus one attack. So all of his stuff's going to be doing a lot more damage this turn. But obviously next turn he's only getting the plus one attack. So this is the only turn of his advancing charge he gets for the entire game, and it's turn one. So I think that play of Chuck's from sitting back is potentially going to make a difference because it just gives Seth that extra chance of failing a couple of key charges and not getting the damage he needs to get done on his Wa turn. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if he gets punished for that, or if Chuck's play was all in vain because Seth just does the Orchid thing and hits the double six.
Yeah, so you mentioned he's going to have to get rid of one of those deck jets on the bottom there. What is he going to have to use to get that out? What is kind of his most efficient unit for getting one of those planes out of the sky?
So that is probably going to be the Megatrax. They all have the rockets, which are now the new improved. I believe they're like 3D3 shots now, and then they get the wing missile as well. And the rockets are natively plus one to hit against vehicles, so that cancels out the minus one to hit from hard to hit. And then if Seth can get a trigger on his freebooters ability from anywhere else on the board, those are going to be hitting on fours, and they're strength 8 and then 3 damage. So it's only going to take a few of them to get through to that Darker Jet. So even if he doesn't get the competitive streak off, there's a very good chance one of those Darker Jets goes down to the Megatrax, but it is going to draw their firepower. And if he gets lucky and manages to pick up, like if there's a backfield squad that Seth can go for, it's a very good chance he can get both of them this turn. So it's not that he's not going to be able to do it; it's just that he's going to have to commit a lot of resources. And if he doesn't get the resources, he might not get to spread his damage quite as much as he needs to.
And we do see here Seth pulling all of his buggies back, kind of pulling his line back, making Chuck come to him some more. I think realizing that he has to be a little bit more defensive for next turn. So really using that Wa to make those war bikers hopefully get into his back line.
Yeah, and that's just again that's a lot of the because Chuck sat so far back and he's positioned it so that those planes are very in the way. I believe there's also just distance wise there wasn't enough for him to be able to get like those mega tracks in and then also kill enough stuff to be safe. Gaz isn't going to die, so Gaz would have gotten to walk through those mega tracks. They were at the front of the deployment zone, so Chuck just takes the calculated gamble that they're to the last. They're probably not going to go super aggressive, so I don't need to worry about their threat range. I worry about the thing behind them, and then that just gives so much more space for Chuck to play with. So this reserve play really, really coming in clutch for Chuck here. I'm really liking it.
So what are things like Seth has to kill this turn? We talked about he has to get rid of one of those Daka jets. Does he have to
So
get
Seth
rid of?
realistically wants to hit a charge on wants to kill this the bottom right Dagger Jet, so the one that's just to the right of the bottom middle objective. If that one goes away, it opens up that charge into the squad of warbikers at the front. I believe he could potentially hit around anyway because you can't ignore, but he would have to end outside an inch, so it's going to prevent a lot of stuff from getting to punch it if it does stay there. So that goes away. It opens up, slinging a massive amount of bodies into this squad of bikes, and then punching it very hard, and then leaving a wall of bodies in front of it as well. And then that just prevents Chuck from being able to go through that gap. Obviously, he's then going to have to go into that squad of bikes rather than getting to go around it and then potentially into these to the last. This is just how Seth is keeping his to the last alive, is he's using these war bikers very much as a screen here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to take a quick chance here to remind people why we're here. This is Charity Hammer, the third annual event to raise money for Child's Play. Child's Play is an international charity with a network of over 185 hospitals worldwide, and they do amazing work providing toys and video game access to children undergoing medical treatment. We're hoping that your donations can help sick kids feel some comfort in unstable, painful, or uncomfortable times in their lives. Every dollar donated to Charity Hammer goes directly to a charity. Not a cent of any of the money will go to any other party. And for every $30 you donate, you'll receive a raffle ticket entry to amazing ongoing prize draws throughout the event. So stay tuned for your chance to win, and please give if you're able to. And just as an example of one of the fantastic prizes, Seth, playing on stream, actually won a free coaching service from Danny.
I mean, that's not been working out great for you, so I don't know how well Seth needs that.
Well, I didn't say it was a good prize. Looks like we're getting a table update coming in here.
Okay, so what's coming from us is this Darker Jet at the top right managed to kill off a squad of commandos that was hiding in Chuck's deployment zone, and then this sort of amorphous blob underneath the wing of the bottom right one of Chuck's Darker Jets is the Beastside Mantle Squig Boss, which has just had another 5 wounds put on it, 5 of its 9 put on it by that red Darker Jet. So it's entirely possible that Seth's actual plan here is to just collapse into that Squig Hide, that War Boss, try and kill it, and then block all 3 squads of bikes into play. I didn't actually see that there. I thought that was part of the terrain. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, so it's very potential that that character goes down here, and then he still gets move blocked. Obviously, that doesn't take one of the squads of bikes out of play, but it does take a very threatening character that could potentially be advanced and charging. So if Seth feels like he can deal with Cucked bikes easier than that character, then it's definitely the right play. And this potentially could go for both if he manages to kill the Dark Jet quickly enough and then potentially put them in direct fire into the war boss or something like that. There's a lot of options for Seth here.
You see Seth very smartly going very aggressive with the top right back.
There it goes.
Kaboom! There goes that plane, and that side is open up now for the war bikers.
Yep, so they're going to go in and they're going to do some move blocking shenanigans. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Seth sets that up. Obviously, the 6-inch coherency restriction, or the 6+ model coherency restriction is going to be a bit of a pain here, but Warbikers are on pretty big bases. It's pretty easy to manage that 2 model restriction. I'm looking forward to seeing just how much damage they put out in the water, because they are a very powerful unit.
Again, Seth being real smart, killing that small unit of commandos up top to pop the freebooter trigger, which really increases the efficiency of his shooting for his whole army.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that's why the Darker Jets are in the list, right? Is that they're 28 shots that just kind of roves around and goes looking for those little units that they can pick up to give +1 to hit to literally like the other 500. There's like 600-700 points of shooting in this list, which is a lot for an orc list. Maybe not so much now tide. Like that might just be the standard that we're going to start seeing, especially if freebooters catch it on. It's a lot of shooting for an orc list, and it's a lot of indirect shooting. So even stuff like that, that big roar in the middle isn't going to do a lot to protect Seth from these +1 to hit squig buggies here. I just look at that volume of dice, man. I don't have hands big enough to play orcs. Maybe that's why I don't like them.
Well, that's why they call you the boss baby. I mean, thank you. That is exactly what that is. But yeah, Seth rolling a ton of dice here, and again, he has to get rid of a lot of these blocking targets to free up space for his army to come
Looks like
through.
that's 9 wounds there going on something. And orcs notorious for their great saves. Yeah, it looks like that's a good chunk of fails there. Actually, a good chunk of successes as well. So, you know, I'm just gonna wildly commentate on dice that I don't understand. That's 90% of what we do here.
Well,
That
that's
me and
90% of
John
what I
specifically.
do.
Charity Hammer's great. It's just us that
Yeah.
don't have a clue.
Yeah, no, 90% of what I do is on. And that's a lot of 6s in there too. Thank goodness it's not the squig dice, because otherwise.
I'm pretty sure that none of these dice really matter, but they sure are getting rolled.
So we're gonna go into the chat. What do you think these dice are being rolled for?
Okay. So these are the big shooters from the Megatrax going to the Darker Jet. Now, do you know my favorite trivia fact about the Darker Jet or about the Megatrax is that it has 2 big shooters, right? And that's a good thing. But only one of them is affected by its Grot Gunner ability and gets +1 to hit, which means that you literally have to slow roll the two different big shooters for each Megatrax.
That's absolutely as
wonderful?
intended and perfect.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't matter. It only matters here if he hadn't triggered the freebooters ability because they're currently at +2 to hit because 2 units have died to competitive streak. Oh, it might not for this one because this is still the unit that killed the second unit. So these, yeah, he might have to roll these separately. I think that's
Yeah,
hilarious, and I think it's the
because-
punishment orc players deserve.
Absolutely, and he split fire in that, so he took out the Jet with that, and he's now finishing up his attacks with that unit.
Yep. Yeah, obviously, just recognize that the 93 rockets are probably going to kill the toughness 6 model with like a terrible save. I don't think that's super surprising. If he's not Bridger, he's not going to pass all those saves when you don't get saves.
And that, of course, referring to the amazing game last night between Bridger and John Lennon.
Oh, knocking the Darker Jet there. I think you're just checking ranges for these bolters going into that beast boss. If he manages to kill that beast boss in shooting, that's going to open up so much potential for Seth here. Because I feel like he feels like he needs to kill that beast boss, because if he's surprised to split and put fire attacks into both, he's probably not going to kill either with any sufficient degree of damage output to not take a bunch back. So if he can put the whole squad into that bike squad, he's going to be in a much better position than if he has to split, or if he has to just charge that beast boss just to make sure that it's not around wreaking havoc. But again, we're just seeing the sheer quantities of dice orc roll at each other. It's like you could play an army that.
And here we go see the bike squad at the bottom going into the Beast Mega boss.
Yeah,
And
so we're
then
looking
two
at.
of the bikes.
Sorry, go for it, John.
No, go ahead and yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking. This is the war bikers here firing at that bike at that beast boss, but there's also a couple of them split firing off at that dagger jet, which is taking a bunch of damage. So he's trying to get that that split kill here. Obviously, he's now stacked his +2 to hit, so he is going to be hitting that dagger jet on 4s even through hard to hit, and that does result in it going down. So we are now completely opened up to see just what Seth wants to do with this big old move blocking squad. And like, yeah, this is what happens when you give orcs shooting, guys. They stack it up really quickly. Obviously, orcs
That
getting
second
shot back
Jab.
aren't massively defensive. So like they're kind of the ideal target for orc shooting, which I guess makes sense. They're always infighting in the lore. But just look at the dice, man. This is now the Warbikers firing at the Beast Boss and Fukasaur, which I believe had taken 5 wounds already, which leaves it
5
on
wounds
4.
from the Daka Jab.
Yeah, so it's got 4 wounds left, so we're looking at hitting on 4s here, and then we're going to be wounding on 5s or 6s, depending on the relics it has. I believe he has Beasthide Mantle, which I don't think is doing much for him here.
And
So yeah, we're
those,
going to
I
probably
was
see
gonna
it
say,
go
those
away
war
here.
bikes, have 10 shots each right.
Yeah, because he called, or did if he called a Speedwire, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, so he'll be going, so he's not advanced those, so they've just shot into that, and then they're going to be charging into the bikers without advancing. So that's why they're not quite as far forward as they would have been if we had seen something like a gas swap. Obviously, these are dark weapons, so they can't advance the charge anyway.
So we are seeing those 90 shots going into that boss at the bottom there. And that's just really smart play for Seth. He's really opened up that bottom half of the table.
Looks like we've got about 10, 12 wounds going here. 4+ save on this piece ward, so probably gonna die here. But I've seen stranger things. Ooh, that's a good roll.
There's a lot of passes on that.
3 damage
Down.
leaves him on 1 wound, so we're
Oh,
probably going to see some
no.
of the indirect go into this guy. There's definitely a lot left that can go into him, but that's got to hurt, because that's a lot of firepower that could potentially overkill this guy now.
That was a lot of above average rolling on that there. Chuck real lucky
When
that
you're an
he's
above
left
average
with a
orc
wound.
player, you got to roll above average, right? That's just par for the course.
Those are just the rules. That's literally one of the stratagems is above average player.
Yeah, it's they teach that at the Danny McDevitt School of Coaching, so.
Which Seth is going to learn with the free lesson that he's going to be getting
Yeah,
in the
that
future.
Chuck's already learned it. That's why Chuck got the first turn. Like that's just pure skill there. Yeah, so we've just had the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy has picked up the Orc War boss. I don't think anybody's surprised there. +1 to wound from that Nitro Squig is really helping out. That gets him back to wounding on 4s, even though he's only strength 5. And then
That is really big that he had to waste the rocket truck shooting to get rid of that target rather
yeah,
than
exactly,
relying on
because
the warbiker.
it's a blast weapon, so it would be getting 2d6 shots. Even if he rolls that double one, he's getting that 3. He's
Oh,
got
and
the
that's the
D6 shot.
third Daka Jet gone as
Ooh.
well. Seth is picking
Yeah.
up the table right now.
This is just the shooting. So we're gonna have to see what Chuck can do on his reprisal turn here. This is what happened when most of Seth's army wasn't getting to do stuff. There's no punching going on here. We'll see what that squad of bikes can do at the bottom. But this is just the shooting. So Chuck is gonna have to do something good with his war turn here. Obviously, Gaz is gonna get to stick around for a while, but we're gonna have to see Chuck do some absolute work with these Goth boys, and they're the right unit to do it. Right? I'm fully on board with the idea that a lot of Chuck stuff is gonna do a lot of killing next turn.
Yeah, Chuck still has his truck boy squad and a heck of a lot of warbikers. We already went over how many shots those guys throw out. So there's a lot he can still do. He's just going to have to play really cagey with the
you saw
amount of shooting Seth has.
the volume of dice that Seth's squad was shooting out at the bottom here. Well, Chuck's got that 3 times. And his is all Goths, so it's also getting rerolls to hit from Gaz in combat. I'm fully willing to bet we're going to see a lot of stuff die. You can
I
also
think we've
see
had a
just
request from the crowd to get a bucket for Chuck to roll the dice for his bikers as well.
bucket. I think you could like get him like a top hat or something like that, wouldn't that? Maybe give him a Tam O'Shanter if anybody will get that one. But you see, just underneath the A of the charity hammer, there is a squad sitting on that objective. So Seth is going to get his stranglehold points here. That's very big for him because that means he's going to keep a pace with the three that I'm assuming Seth got on engage with those Dakar jets. I'm willing to bet he put them past the halfway line, so that's going to keep him tied up on those secondary points. And yeah, we're going to be setting Chuck to a 5 primary here, which is never where you want to be, even in a mission like Battle Lines, where there's just so much happening in the middle. This is very much going to be a game of whoever walks out on the other side is going to get the primary, and nobody's going to get anything in the in-between times.
I think what's amazing to see right here is Seth has not overextended himself at all. He's kept castling in the back with all of his shooting
Yeah,
and only moved up
exactly.
what he had to.
I think he maybe could have done something slightly. I don't know. I think there's things you could have done slightly differently with the planes here. Just to like finish off those move blocks. But obviously the yellow one's gone for the kill to trigger off the freeboots competitive streak, and this red one's positioned to shoot the Beast Head War Boss. I think there was probably a way he could have positioned this plane so that it could have shot the War Boss once the plane that was protecting him died, and then it could have been in a slightly more relevant position to move block. But maybe he's just trying to keep it so that Darker weapons aren't in range to half shoot if they go aggressive.
Oh, as we're about to have our second WoW of
Seth
the
has
day.
opted not to charge with these bikers, and we are going to have another quick wah. I'm going to take my headphones off.
It's time. We'll see y'all.
Sorted. We're not gonna get rich. Seems like a betrayal. Oh, he'll join in.
All right, 3, 2, 1. My voice gave it like halfway through, so I was like, oh no.
Still on.
That one was great. I didn't have player audio.
And I really want to thank Peter, Table Boss, Peter the Falcon Police Mo, for muting our audio for that WoW. Mark Perry coming in to help that out. And
For all
yeah,
those of you who are watching at whatever time of night it is for you guys, your families can sleep safe in the knowledge that Peter muted the wah.
and literally hero. He is a Warhammer hero for that exact thing. Oh.
So we are
Even
just
better.
getting news. They did not, in fact, mute the wah. We very much did try to record the wah for all of you at home, just to make sure that your children and your parents were all waking up in the night. No, they broke the mic.
Yeah. So Orquaz, terrible for ambiance, sportsmanship, and also the audio equipment.
Got a question for you, Jump. This squad of
Absolutely.
bikes at the bottom.
Yes.
Do you think it would have been worth them charging there to get the move block, or do you think just letting all those bikes go through is the right play here because they're just gonna die anyway?
So I think it's interesting, right? Because either way, they're in a lot of danger right now because they're right in front of so many shots. It's a risky long charge. He
It
definitely
doesn't
needed
look
to
that
get rid
long.
of that
That
war
can't
bomb.
be higher than a 7 or an 8. And they've got Here We Go, so it's not that unlikely.
So
I'm just
it's
thinking,
not.
like, look at the stretch of that squad's coherency. There's no way they're going to be able to get more than 3 or 4 models punching into these guys. Even with the
Mhm.
Goffs and the Gazritos, they're not going to do that much damage. And that squad is dead anyway, so making that squad isn't going to be shooting if it stays in combat. It's going to be locked there. I'm not sure I like this play. It's protecting the Beast Boss and Squigosaur, or whatever character that is, but I definitely don't love that play.
So I think yeah, you hit it on the head there, where they are character blocking for that character in the back. The other thing is if those bikes do choose to come down and engage in any sort of way, they are instantly in the firing lane of Seth's entire army.
Yeah, but they're kind of in the firing lane anyway, right? I definitely think that squad could have. I also think that squad could have just chained, right, to be within 3 of the character and also in combat, but also just blocking this path off. But I guess there's potentially that can just go up the top path. But there's a bunch of stuff in the bottom left that I think Seth would have been beneficial protecting. So I'm not 100% sure. I would have to properly sit with that, but
Looks
my
like
gut would have
even
been to charge
here,
there.
it looks like even here Chuck is moving past them and on towards the 2 last targets and more towards the
Yeah,
back
exactly.
line.
So
So yeah,
yeah, I think it would have been the right play to charge there. Because obviously
we're
that
gonna
unit
say
is funneling through a massive choke, because you can see it stretched up all the way to like the tail of that yellow Daka jet.
yeah. Absolutely, and as you were saying, and it's there. It's probably a little bit of a mistake because he has a lot of free movement there, and he is kind of just going through that hole right there. While he might not be getting that objective, he's getting right into Seth's back line.
Yeah, and honestly, it's very potential. There's only 3 models on that objective. It's very possible that sort of like this second or third squad of bikers can go into this squad of bikes anyway. I don't even think it's really like, yeah. Look, we're just seeing that second squad is just going straight into them. I don't think this is jammed up at all. I'm yeah, not a huge fan of this personally.
Nostra Innes over here predicting that that second squad of bikes is going to be going in there. And then we see the truck at the top, the truck boys moving up to try and harass that top flank too.
Yeah, so they're just going to go and die to those Squid Bog boys, I reckon. That seems to be their future. It's potentially more likely they're just going to disembark and get retrieve victorious data for this quarter, or they're going to sit in the transport and make Seth spend a bunch of resources killing the transport and the guys inside, while he gets to retrieve victorious data, maybe in this bottom left corner, where he can get it with a deep strike, apparently.
Chuck leaving those bikes back there looks like to keep a toehold on his backfield objective, moving the bikes around to harass. What are the priority targets going to be for Chuck this turn? Obviously, that squad of war bikers to try and deny Seth 5 points primary, and it looks like that squad of war bikers on the top are going to try and wipe that squad off the other objective too.
Yeah, my guess would be that this sort of bike and maybe Gaz is going to go in and kill off the squad on the objective. Try and get something. He's got something past the halfway line for engage. One of these 2 squads of bikes on sort of the bottom middle is going to have to go all the way past to get the engage points with that quarter, or he's going to have to bring in one of his reserve squads. I'd expect to see that. But obviously, yeah, we're seeing this squad coming here. One thing I actually would have quite liked to see from Seth is positioning these planes to have a full 9-inch exclusion zone on this objective, so that there was nothing that Chuck could deep strike onto it. So he would have had to leave one of his main squads on it. Like obviously, what he's doing now is he's chaining back to it, but he would have had to do that because he wouldn't have been able to drop like a squad of Stormboys or Commandos on it. It would have just removed options from him, and I think he potentially could have done that with his yellow Darker Jet without not without preventing him from shooting the Commandos. That would have been an interesting thing to see there.
Yeah, really
But yeah,
good
we're
play
just
here.
seeing a bunch of punching here.
Yeah, really good play here, chaining back to keep a toehold on that back objective. Gaz moving up to harass the middle as well.
Yeah, Gaz is just gonna sit there and be really annoying for the entirety of Chuck's arm for Chuck to deal with Seth. He's giving out that reroll to hit, so even with only a couple of bikes here, there's a very little chance that this squad survives of Seth's on the objective. So yeah, really liking Chuck's play here.
Yeah, for sure. Gaz, of course, real difficult to do damage to. I think maximum 3 wounds a phase.
4 and he has 12, so
four,
it takes a minimum of 3 phases to kill him. Yep.
yeah, and right now Seth has an army that can only do 8 wounds a turn, so he's going to definitely survive another turn, which puts him in an even bigger threat range.
I think there's actually so if Seth gets Gaz in the open, there's a very good chance he can kill him because he can do like the buggies all do mortal wounds on the charge and they have a strategy to do more. So potentially with shooting charge phase and combat, he can kill it in one go. He can kill him in one go. So Chuck's gonna have to be a little bit careful with him, which is why I think he's not just like barreling forward with his advancing charge to go and get stuck in and start jamming up like this death killer and stuff like that. Um, so I think we're going to see this squad of bikes is probably going to go away, and we're going to see this squad of the sort of slightly lighter colored squad of Chuck's bikes are going to go into the squad of Mega Tracks and just trying to do some hammock. I would fully expect to see them using the 2CP exploding 5 stratagem. Mightier is rightier or whatever or thing it's called. We're going to see a lot of damage come out of Chuck this turn if he hits charges. I'm really looking forward to seeing just how much these guys do when they're on their good day.
And again, hundreds of shots. And yes, Jersey Devil, you did hear a wow. And of course, it was the wow that broke the player audio.
The mic broke before the wah did, or something like that.
It sure did. And Innes, as you predicted there, that squad really easily picked up. Now Chuck measuring to see how far away that bike squad is from the Death Killer War Trike.
Yeah, so it looks like they're just outside 12, which I think is outside the range to get the super loads of shots. But it'll only be like 7 shots to do it at the moment instead of the full 108 from that squad. Which is 108 shots from a full squad of war bikers when they're in their war turn, because they have 2 separate Daka guns which both have 5 shots, and then in war turn 6 shots each. 9 guys is 108 shots. It is a frankly withering amount of firepower from a unit that's not all that expensive and is fairly resilient. Which is obviously, like I said earlier, that's why Chuck's got 27 of them. It's not because they're bad, it's very much the opposite.
Yeah, we're just double checking the range here.
Yeah, it looks like we've only got a reasonable amount of shots going to the Dakajet. We're measuring to the Squidcog boys as well now, seeing if we can potentially snipe some of them off. Just reduce some of Seth's multi-phasal damage output. Maybe try and keep Gaz alive a little longer. Try and keep the Warbikers alive a little longer. We're not seeing a Wa turn here, so I believe after calling a speed Wa, all you get in the second turn is the AP bonus. So we'll not be seeing quite the amount of shots coming out of Seth next turn. But let's see what's going here. So this is the Daka guns from the Warbikers firing. These are going into some various combination of the Deathkiller Wartrike and the Squidcog boys that are just top left there. And yeah, standard orc shooting. Can we get a confirmation from the table? Did Death use the 2 CP stratagem again to protect the smoke clouds? We are going to wait on that one, but it'll be interesting to see. I would
So
assume.
how many? I was gonna say, how many shots was it going to take for that Warbikers going to be enough to take out?
It would probably take a fair few, just because the Deathkiller Wartrike is still toughness 6, and the Daka guns are only strength 5, unlike the guns on the Daka jets. I know lots of different Daka words in there. So probably not super efficient at killing him, but they will do some chip damage, and that might be enough that like the two or three warbikes that survive might be able to like punch up and punk the guy. So that's probably what we're looking for is just chip damage to make sure that he might cap more wounds from an explosion. Maybe 2 or 3 guys spike and kill him. It's just giving himself those options because these guns aren't doing much to anything. So doing a little bit to something here. Obviously, those Squidcog boys are toughness 6 as well, so they're again not an ideal target for this kind of weapon.
When your threat's been taken away from shooting, like Seth picks up 3 Daka jets in his first turn, he's throwing what he has out there. So
Yeah, exactly.
Seth.
It feels weird to call 324 shots incidental, but the Daka jet fire, the Warbiker Daka gun firepower here very much does feel incidental for an orc army. But yeah, so we've seen a few wounds go in the Daka jet there from the Warbikers that didn't really have any other options. They've kicked it into the yellow one. That's obviously not died. Again, it's not a good target. They're going to be hitting on 6s. They're going to be winning on 5s. It's even still getting a save, which is unusual for a plane that's taking firepower. So yeah, that squad's very much just there to control ground right now and to be a nuisance for Seth to deal with next turn. And obviously, he's trying to make it so that he can't deal with it next turn. He's going to try and put a bunch of stuff into combat with these mega tracks, which are then they're firing blast weapons, so they'll not be firing in combat, or they'll be falling back, trying to protect themselves into the last. Maybe even just with the size of their bases, they're jamming it up so those Squidcog boys can't get around into combat. That's very possible here. Obviously, if Chuck kills some, that's not going to happen, but it's something that could happen. If he goes for a soft charge, tries to lock them in place, maybe that's how it goes. I can't imagine that's what he plays for, but if it did happen, I don't think he'd be too upset.
If you see the bottom right-hand corner there, we see 3 Warbikes worth of shooting dice-wise. But seriously, the Warbikes, it looked like Chuck was measuring to the Squidcog riders behind the buggies.
Yeah, so again, toughness 6, so it's going to be doing a bit of damage, but I don't think it'll be doing enough to prevent that squad from doing a lot when it goes in. But again, if it's enough that a couple of guys live to get to punch back, that's a lot when you're punching with the amount of attacks that orcs are in their Wa turn. So Gaz is the unique Goth guy gets to call the Great Wa, which combines both the effects of Speed Wa, which is what we saw Seth use to devastating effect last turn, and also the regular Wa, which is advance in charge and possible attack for all orc units, and then the second turn is possible attack. So Seth gets extra AP next turn, whereas next turn Chuck's gonna have extra AP, and also he's going to still have that possible attack. So Chuck's damage output in combat is just going to be a lot higher than Seth's for the next little while. So we're gonna have to see Seth do some real work to overcome that advantage that he's got from bringing Gaz. Obviously, the points investment of Gaz is kind of counteracted, but we can definitely see some interesting stuff coming out here.
And here come the shots.
Yeah, the orcs are rolling dice. We're all really invested in their hitting on 6s, winning on 5s, tower firepower. You could play an army that just like 3 shots on 3s and 2s, or you could do 108 shots at 6s and 5s. Nets out about the same. But hey, who am I to judge?
That large, and if you were the captain, Team Scotland, and therefore you get 3% judgeability on this move.
On what move?
That move. Yeah, I'm not being specific about it. Perfect. It works out great.
Yeah.
All right.
My 3% judgeability I'm going to use to refrain from judging because I don't understand what's happening, and this game is literally happening a half a planet away from me.
That's exactly right. And it looks like we have the War Bikers, Chuck's War Bikers, the back here shooting into Seth's War Bikers on the objective.
Yep, this is just for lack of a better target at this point. Once you go over half range with those DACA guns, they do lose a bunch of firepower. They go from 6 shots a gun to 4 shots a gun, so you're losing 33% of your damage output. Put it at the thing in front of you. It just makes sure that your combat's going to be easier. There's no chance of leaving something alive, and potentially even if he drops them down to 3, he might get to fire another squad into them or something. I think he's just about out of firepower at this point, but there is always a chance.
So where do you see Chuck's charges going after this shooting happens?
So I would expect that the sort of the darker squad that is chained between the two bottom right and middle right or bottom left, bottom and middle right objectives is going to go into whatever's left of the squad of Seth's War Bikers, and then the tan squad is going to go straight into the mega tracks. It's going to be looks like something like a 7 or an 8 inch charge, but you've got here we go rerolls on top of that. So we're looking like it's about the same odds as rolling a 2 up here, I reckon. And that'll just be trying to get jammed in, stay in range of Gaz if possible. I think Gaz is sort of at that top right bit, so with a long enough charge, you could potentially swing around to get like 1 or 2 guys in range and give all of the rest of them reroll hits. If not, just collapse the whole squad in, use your big pile and consolidation coherency, and just try and smash in a bunch of damage with potentially might makes right for the exploding 5s, but even if not, it's just a whole mess of strength 6. So yeah, or strength 5 or strength 6.
Seth lost 2 bikes there, and tell me a little bit about the ones that he removed. He removed the 2 closest to the boss at the bottom, leaving that kind of curve up at the top there.
So what you're definitely seeing there is that he doesn't want this tan squad to be able to charge his beast boss. He wants them to have to go into there because the beast boss is his biggest piece of damage output. That and the Death Killer Wartrike are going to have to do a massive amount of damage in combat. So keeping that guy just even if it's not necessarily the right play for Chuck to go for, he doesn't want to give him the option of going for the play. Because that would be a really long bomb charge. You'd have to go around. You'd have to collapse into these guys. You potentially don't get in range with the pile and consolidation to fight him. It would just make things a whole mess for Chuck if these guys are still alive. I don't think it's the right play to go for that guy. I think you're better just going for those to the last, and not risking like the interrupt, like multiple things. Like you charge 2 squads, you have to punch into one of them, and then the second interrupts and all that really boring stuff about combat. I think going for the to last is the right play, but just a good strategy in general is just make sure your opponent, even if you don't think they're going to make the right play, or you don't think they're going to make the wrong play, you trust your opponent to be semi-competent and go for the right option. It's not also right to give them the choice of going for what you see as a bad play because sometimes they high roll, sometimes they don't have the same value judgment as you. They just think that it's actually a good play, and they might be right, you might be right. There's no real way to know that in the moment. So yeah, Seth is just denying options here. I like this play, keeping that beast boss safe because that is a massive amount of his damage output with brutal Baconic. It's like we also saw some Overwatch there, which picked up a couple of bikes, maybe 1 or 2. That's just orcs being orcs, hitting on 6s. Sometimes you get lucky.
Really good play. And yeah, and as you were saying, that was just Overwatch from those Megatrek scrap jets, just picking up 2 war bikes.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
and
were
there's
also going
more
to be
to come.
seeing the big shooters coming out here. In case you thought they were done, they've also got like the 3,000 shots. They're obviously they're still in War turn as well because Seth called it at the start of his turn. So they're also going to be getting 20 shots each from their big shooters, something like that. A lot of shots. I could run the math, but I don't really know it.
He's going to call it lock. That is
Yeah.
a chance. As you can see, Seth matching his dice pile in the top left.
Yeah, it's probably gonna kill. Maybe we're gonna see like another biker, maybe 2 here go. The flat 3 of the flat 3 from the missiles means that there's not any wounded guys here, so it's gonna be in orders of 3. There's a decent chance we see 1, maybe 2 go here, but obviously it's orcs. There's always that potential for a high roll when you're rolling this many dice. I wouldn't be surprised to see like 6 die because that's what orcs do sometimes.
There are a lot of 6s in that pile.
Yeah, it looks like we got like 5, 6, 7 wounds here.
7
So
wounds.
probably looking at 1, 2 bikes going here, depending on how lucky you go. Yeah, 2 bikes.
2 bikes. Noster in and set it again. You
So
say
I
you don't
believe
want to
that
do the
puts us
math,
down
but you do it in your head.
puts us down to like a 5 or 6 man squad of bikes here. That's going to make doing things like chaining up to Gasgul a lot less appealing. So we're just going to be looking at pure volume of attacks here. It's
And
also
they
going to be
make it
stuff
in.
like might make right. Yeah, it's the thing with squads like this is once you get them down lower to like that 5, 6 man squad, you're giving them a lot less chance to roll for that variance because a lot of the damage output of Goths comes from that exploding sixes. It's functionally the same thing as possible to hit. So like if you're hitting on 3s with exploding sixes or you're hitting on 2s, mathematically they're about the same. But the exploding sixes has much higher high roll potential and much more low roll potential. And having a big squad smooths out that variance. Like you're likely to roll. You roll 100 dice, you're a lot more likely to roll that sort of like 15 to 18 sixes average. If you're only rolling like 50 dice, it's a lot more variable that you're going to be in one of those middle ranges where you get a low roll or a high roll. And Seth doing that damage there means that he's just giving himself that out there that Chuck just doesn't roll well. It's very potential when you're only rolling as few attacks as you are with 5 models instead of 9. So it's very, very likely that we don't see these guys go down. And then the Mega Tracks themselves are pretty good in combat. I would expect to see maybe one bike, maybe one of the Mega Tracks die here, and then 2 or 3 more of those guys die back, and then potentially fill a morale check. This could be really good for Seth here. And then we've seen that other black squad has gone into that squad on the bottom objective, so we're seeing some more biker on more biker violence there. You'd think they'd just be friends, but
Yeah.
no,
There's
that doesn't
gonna
have to be on the cards.
no hugging it out at all. So what are we seeing here? And we look like we're trying to go for a long charge into that Death Killer War Trike at
Yeah,
the
it
top
looks
there.
like they are exactly 12 inches away, and that is. I can't see that second dice, but that is a 5.
I think
So
he
if the other
rolled
dice
an
is a
11.
6,
Chuck looking
if he
real
rolled
hard.
an 11, he should be in, right? Unless there's dense terrain in the way, because
Oh,
if you're
we're
within 12,
re-rolling.
no, that's the
Oh,
truck.
that's the truck going in there.
So it looks like we did fail on those war bikes, yeah.
So-
So just for reference, you can't need a 12-inch charge because if you're within 12 to declare a charge, an 11-inch move gets you within engagement range. So the only way you can need to roll a double six on dice is if you're suffering from modifier or you have some ability like Howling Banshees that adds +3 to the distance you can actually declare a charge at. So if anybody ever says you did 12-inch charge and you're not stood in a crater, you probably only needed 11.
Tell them they're a liar. So he did charge that truck into the Death Killer War Trike there. I would imagine that character makes short work of the truck. Tell me about that move.
I think the hope here is that it just lives. I don't know if that's a desperation play. I'm not familiar with how punchy the Death Killer War Trike is in combat, and also I'm not 100% sure what relics and warlord traits that Seth has on it. I believe it has defensive one, so it's like -1 to wound. So I wouldn't expect to see it do a huge amount of damage.
We're just getting a confirmation from the table on the Warlord trait.
Yeah, so the Death Killer War Trick has -1 to wound and the shot off offset that we mentioned earlier, so he's not massively punchy, and he is a Death Killer, which means he's not a full war boss, so he's not getting the full amount of attacks. And I think he's only damaged 2 or D3, so it's decent odds that that truck with Ramshackle there lives because he's gonna be dropping that by 1. He's only strength 7, so yeah, I think this is a really smart play there. It holds the Death Killer up, and it means he's not going to be going into those bikes. So yeah, smart play again from Chuck there. Really liking the way Chuck played this game so far.
Do we see him blocking up at the top the way he charged in as well, really cutting off outside the table?
I am curious if he's going to consolidate into the Spike Hog Boys. I would assume not, because that just seems like you're opening yourself up to getting spiked on more wounds. But it's potentially it's just blocking distance there. I would assume that that's like the kind of distance that a rocket truck can't go through. Like if you see, it's about the same thickness as the Death Killer War Trike. So one of those rocket trucks isn't going to be able to walk through to get line of sight for like its their incidental guns into the war bikes. It's just more stuff. It's also he gets to push the squad of boys that's inside it further into Seth's back corner, which will help him for getting stuff like Rod when it does eventually die. Because it is going to die this turn. Like if Seth wants it to die, it's going to go away. It's just if it will go away with enough shooting left to kill what's inside it. It looks like we're seeing these are the Warbikers at the bottom going into Seth's Warbikers, and we are seeing a decent amount of damage go through. But obviously, without stratagem support here, it's not the most efficient thing at killing each other. They are wounding on, again, they're only strength 5 because they're just regular bikers with the Goth +1. So wounding on 5s against the toughness 6 of the Warbikers. Not the most efficient thing at killing each other, which is why I'm talking about like needing gas support and stratagems and maybe a bit of a spiky high roll. We're obviously not going to see much damage come back from Seth, but yeah, we saw, looks like 5 of the bikes died there. It's probably not what Chuck was hoping for. We're just seeing Seth make a decision about which guys to pull. Yep, 5 bikes, including one that was wounded. That has left. He's off the objective, but he's not going to be controlling it anyway because he just has less models. But it is keeping them away from potentially consolidating into that bike. I believe there's a strategy work can use to increase consolidation range. I don't know if it's infantry only, but it's just making sure that there's no options there. And if the option doesn't exist, it's definitely not there. That's a generally good thing about options that don't exist is you can't use them.
Again, Seth choosing to remove his bikes from the objective.
Yeah, he's not got OBSEC on it anyway. Like, neither of them are playing Death Skulls and neither of them are infantry. So he wasn't going to be controlling that objective with one model regardless. We saw at the start of the combat he had 3 models there. And Seth and Chuck already had 4 on it. So he wasn't holding the objective. It didn't really matter here. One thing I do want to know, do you notice, so Chuck's squad of Warbikes, that top guy that's next to the red Megatrack looks like he's past the halfway line, which is potentially going to matter for engage. I'm assuming that the players will just kind of agree, and maybe he'll shuffle around with a pilot consolidation move. But that model might be just past the quarter line for engage and not giving Chuck this bottom left corner, which would be, I don't think that guy needs to be as high up as he is.
What kind of punching are we going to see from those trucks back? And is there a way that Chuck can get himself killed into engage?
So they're punching with like 4 strength 6 -2 D3 damage attacks that I believe hit on 4s. Like they're reasonably hitty. I would expect to see like 1 or 2 go away here. Especially if Chuck doesn't do any damage to them himself. I don't think Chuck's had or Seth's had an opportunity to trigger freebooter, so they'll not be getting the +1 to hit for competitive streak, which does work in combat. So yeah, we're just seeing a little bit of rolling here. We are watching to see if any damage gets put out. It looks like a little bit of damage has got on those trucks, but not or those mega tracks, but not a huge deal.
Oh, definitely not a consequential amount right now, but it does
That's a
keep them
wound
tied
counter
up.
going on one of the mega tracks. That is not what we wanted to see from Chuck here. That's what happens when you take a bunch of Overwatch damage. You just don't get to do the output. You don't get the high rolls.
And it really, really affected his combat effectiveness there. You're totally right. It does still tie them up, though. And how is that going to Seth shooting next turn?
It's going to affect it. I don't know if there's a fallback and shoot stratagem for them. I really like this Orc Codex is really new, so I do apologize. I don't have the highest amount of knowledge on it. We'll see what happens with the punching. Potentially there could be a failed morale check here. Orcs are not known for their great morale anymore. They're not within 6 of a mob rune it, so they will be taking coherency at regular. So if they take a couple of casualties here from a high roll from Seth's side, we could very easily see that Megatrack unit be not locked in combat. Or it could potentially drop them low enough that it's the big shooters alone knock them out of combat, and then they're free to fire their rockets somewhere else, which would be absolutely devastating. Because the nice thing about blast weapons, you can target them. It's just if you're still in combat, they stick around. But there is a potential that the volume of big shooter shots, if he triggers freebooters somewhere else to get that +1 to hit, but they're still hitting on 4s, we could definitely see those bikers go away and not be a problem.
Just while our orc players continue to roll 17,000 dice for every single thing, well, remember everyone while we're here at Charity Hammer, we're raising money for Child's Play, an international children's charity of 185 hospitals worldwide. Every dollar donated goes directly to the charity, not a cent goes to anyone else. And the most important thing, for every $30 you donate, you will receive a raffle ticket to amazing ongoing prize draws throughout the event. Prizes include, we've given away Dominion boxes. We've given away special edition Black Library novels. There is still a luxury blanket in play. There is so much to play for.
I donated purely for the luxury blanket, and I'll be very disappointed if I did get it. I will be wearing it as a kilt as much as possible.
Yeah, your luxury blanket can also be used as a kill. What's going on here? What are we doing?
I don't know. Orcs are punching each other. It's things are happening. We're probably going to at some point see that Death Killer wail on that truck and do not much. I don't know if we've seen those Mega Tracks roll. We're probably seeing the Warbikers roll. We're probably going to see a few. I'm going to say probably like 4 more times. Probably, and then I'm going to stop. We're very likely going to see a few models disappear. Yeah, we're seeing a couple of wounds go onto the Warbikers in the black, and then that Tan Squad has already been punched, because we can see a wound counter there where there wasn't one otherwise. So it looks like not a great amount of damage done there by Seth in combat. So probably still going to be there next turn, which is going to be disappointing. I don't think there's a very good likelihood that those 5 Warbikers die, just the big shooters from these mega tracks, which is going to really suck. That's a massive amount of his firepower gone, but it is also one of his to the last that is still on the board, which is always a good sign.
Absolutely, and I just want to remind our chat and viewers it has been 19 minutes since our last WAF, and hopefully there will be no more coming.
Well, I mean, they've had to find a replacement microphone, right? And I don't think anybody's going to give the Orc players another one to break.
I want to say
just
personally at the Bay Area, I have 3, and they're all hidden at this exact moment for this exact reason.
Yeah, don't let the Orc players near your mics, guys. And remember, if you're running a tournament, it is your civic duty to make sure the Orc players, if they WA, immediately use their WA ability in their game, and they cannot counter that. So if they join in on another player's WA, tough luck. I don't care if it's your opponent's turn, you're WAing, and that's it. That's half your turn gone.
Yellow card, angle shooting.
Exactly. Minus 20 victory points.
Oh, and those bikers picked up. Do we have 1 bike left there?
Yeah, was that morale there?
Oh, yeah.
That's the downside of the new orcs, is that if you're not near a war boss, you're going to start taking morale checks, and they are going to suck. So that one
Well,
guy,
I will say
very
he's
much
now.
going to die to big shoots.
I will say that one guy that is left is going to help core engage in all fronts, as that unit is now entirely in that table quarter.
Yeah, so very very much win the battle, lose the war there on that war biker.
However, he doesn't have anything in the bottom right, fully in the bottom right.
That is true, actually. So we're just getting an update from the players on how many victory points they're on. So it's currently 15 points to Chuck with 5 on primary and 10 secondary, and 5 plus 11, 5 plus 6 is 11 for Seth with 5 primary and 6 secondary. That looks like a 3 on assassinate for killing that beast boss, and also that 3 for stranglehold that he got last turn. And then Chuck, we're looking at another 3 on engage here, and then a couple of bring it down points maybe. I don't know, I'm bad at math.
The big dangers here.
Rod and double engage is probably what it actually is. Rod for 4 and 2 3s on engage. So there's probably something in this bottom right corner that's just off camera. It looks like if there is probably like a squad of commanders or something down there that dropped in to do Rod, because there's nothing in the top left or the bottom left, and he did the top right with his commandos. So I'm just going to assume there's something there I can't see.
The Seth has a lot of shooting right here. What are going to be his targets this turn to really maximize his points?
Well, I mean, if you look at what's on the board, there's 2 units of war bikes and Gazgul, and that's it. So I'm gonna guess it's the 2 units of war bikes. Just using my Nostra Ennis, as you so kindly put it. We're gonna see.
He didn't fall back from combat with those war bikes, and he moved that boss up.
Yeah. No Overwatch, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're still in. They're still in water because Chuck. It lasts for like until your next command phase, so they're still active with the plus 1 attack. So if he charges into them blind, that's 108 shots, and he's got plenty of other things for his guns to go into because this squad at the top is unengaged. So what we're gonna see is this beast boss is going to go into this squad of black bikes, and then everything else is just going to unload on this squad at the top. We're probably going to see something like the big shooters go first from these guys, because you're looking at like 40 shots into this one dude, and then the missiles that go into them, because it's very potential that they could get pulled out of line of sight. So there's only really looks like maybe 1 or 2, and potentially even only 1 or 2 of the mega tractor in line of sight of this one guy at the top. So they're probably going to try and go first just to prevent anything triggering, unless obviously one of the planes will go before that to trigger it. for everything off of whatever squad's in the bottom right here for Chuck. And then that just gets as maximum possible damage output onto there, and then all the indirect in the world and the other Darker Jet probably will go into them. And you also see here, this red plane is 9-inch exclusion zoning this objective right off. So unless Chuck goes for Storm Boys that hit a charge from reserve, they're not doing it. They're not getting on that objective. That might keep Chuck to a 0 primary next turn, which would really suck. Looks like a good position for Seth here. It's kind of that turn with the Wa. I just don't think he did enough. He didn't manage to take out any damage on these to the last with that full charge in. That was a really good overwatch from Seth there. And this squad of boys, yeah, it took more gumption than it probably looked like it should have. Gasgul not being on this side, I think, really hurt there. No rear rolls just means that they don't quite have the damage output that they were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see here, Seth's positioning all of his trucks up there, looking to go into the truck that is attached to his war boss. Do you see him disengaging with his war boss from combat there and just lighting that truck up?
Yeah, probably. I think you wanna. I don't think you can afford to leave that guy in combat and then have the guys jump out and then grab a rod for like 4 more points in that quarter without really having to risk anything. So you want to get rid of them this turn. So that probably means he's just waiting until he figures out exactly what he wants to do with the death strike. I think very reasonably dump him on the objective. He does have the turn off obsec, but that's not going to matter because neither model has obsec on that objective. So we're probably going to see him drive onto that objective and then just try and control it after he kills all the war bikes. The nice thing with that is that if Chuck decides to remove that that one warbike at the front that's probably in line of sight of those mega tracks, he just starts pulling models off the objective. So that just gives him that tension between his decision making, where it's going to make him make difficult choices. Does he want to keep more models on the objective, or does he want to get out of line of sight of more rockets potentially? So that'll be
Although I
interesting
said
to see how both
he
players
wasn't going to fall back, the remaining 2 bikes from the bottom bike squadron have fallen back from that bike squad. Do you think he's going to use one of his axe jets to shoot into there?
Okay, so that probably just means that he has more confidence in his firepower than I did, and he thinks he can kill both squads in shooting and then pick up the remnant with this guy. Maybe I'm just undervaluing the firepower. I was thinking that it was fairly reasonable that he would kill one squad dead, and then maybe have a little bit to go into the second squad, but it looks like he thinks he can kill both squads in shooting this turn, and very nearly table Chuck, which would obviously really suck for Chuck.
Absolutely. So we're going to see, I think, the red deck jet firing into that bike, try and clear them off of that objective. We hopefully going to see that Death Killer Wartrike move out of combat. So those shooting buggies up on the top left can take care of that truck.
That
Then
or
it
he's
looks
just going
like
to ignore it and potentially like just block it from disembarking. That is maybe a thing he could do.
You
I
know, I
noticed the
will
Squid Bug
say,
boys have fallen back as well, though, so it looks like he's just got different plans for that. Maybe he's just trying to screen out Retro Victorious data so that Seth is just denying Chuck those points.
yeah, and I will say that if your plan is to ignore something and leave it alone in the final level lab boss off, that is not very okay.
Yeah, I've decided not to charge your stuff because it's more interesting for me to block you getting secondary points. That's just pure cowardly. You got to go for the throat here, right? You are trying
That
to
is a
assert your dominance as the #1 war boss.
that is a WA with a lowercase w. That is what Seth is doing.
That's like a single A wah. It's more like a cry for help. Which I think all WAs are secretly, but this one
I
especially.
think when every orc player was, it is actually a cry for help, personally.
I refuse to update my opinion, and you can't make me.
Texas Barbecue 12 is asking, can Seth Treg shoot into that truck because it's a vehicle? Which is an amazing point, yeah. Is that worth leaving that in combat to light up the truck with the Death Killer War
I have no idea what it does in combat in shooting, man. I'm not even going to pretend. I think it's got like some flamers or something.
Amazing. So
I
we're
don't
just
know,
going to say
maybe
yes.
it's good, maybe it's not. I'm going to pretend I know, and no, I'm not.
Yeah, no, we're going to say yes. That's exactly what's left there. He fell into my trap. And he's
Yep,
going
and
to
look
light
at
that
that.
truck
Those
up.
big shooters do pull out that one warbike, and now all those rockets are free to go absolutely wherever they want. I'm hoping that he's triggered competitive streak with one of these planes, but I didn't see a massive pile of dice going, so maybe not.
Can we have a tip from Tibbler, Peter? Who, like, how much CP did the players have left at this point?
So Chuck has 3 CP and Seth has 2 CP. I realize the player cam audio is a little quiet there, so we will just repeat that. So yeah, the players have fair burn through their CP. Obviously, orcs don't have a massive lot of good stratagems, and we saw Chuck had 2 planes, so that are 3 planes, so that obviously necessitates 2 detachments. And I believe the war bosses are also 1 per detachment, so you're going to see most orc players start with 2 or 3 detachments because they want those beast bosses on Squigosaurs, they want their Death Killer War Strikes, they want their Gazgulls. Um, so it's interesting to see here how quickly they burn through the limited CP they have on mostly defensive stratagems from Cesspire. It looked like it was there was an Overwatch, there was the 2 CP -1 to hit bubble, and then I'm not 100% sure what Chuck spent them on, but I assume they've done a decent amount of damage here. Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of extra information here. Is that most orc players at this event are playtesting functionally 0 CP lists. So that's a thing that's been a big thing in Chaos for a while. Is that just the data sheets are good enough that you just bring all the best ones, and it's very much a thing that we could be seeing here for orcs as well. Their stratagems are generally fairly situational. They've got a couple of nice ones like the +2 to wound versus Titanic, but they generally feel like overkill a lot of the time. So keeping a couple in your back pocket for like CP rerolls on advanced rolls if you've really got to hit a big charge, stuff like that is generally going to be more useful. And then just load up your characters with all the pre-game strats that you need. Get your 3 warlord traits, your 3 relics, your 3 detachments, and you're starting with 2 already. And it's pretty simple, right? So don't be a coward. Spend your CP pre-game, and then you don't have to make decisions in game. Save that chest hop time for rolling 3,000 shots from your warbikers.
Right. CP does stand for coward points, and when you roll 3,000 dice, what is 1 reroll worth?
At 1 CP, I think.
Yes, thank you for the literal answer.
You're more than welcome. So this is I don't want to say this looks foregone, but this does not look promising for Chuck. Obviously, we saw
No.
some really nice early game plays from him, but his damage output just hasn't been there, and it's really quite sad to see. The
Yeah.
toughness 6 from all this orc stuff, just orcs bouncing off the orcs, man. Strength 5, mass firepower against stuff that's -1 to hit, and you're winning on 5s. It's just not all that. It's
No.
really quite disappointing because obviously this list did really good into Seth played Chuck played Lucas in the previous round, right? And Lucas is playing much more of a horde build, so it would have been a lot more useful there when it's winning on 4s and you're not taking the -1, and they're only getting like their 5-up save, and then that's potentially dropping if they're in custom force field. That's only 1 turn. You wait until the custom force field's not up. You get that -AP. You're putting them onto 6-up save at best, probably nothing, and then they go away. Whereas these buggies that Seth is running, just they don't go away that easy. You've got to put a lot more concerted firepower into them. Obviously, they don't do as much damage output like in one go as the orc boys do, but they stick around a lot longer. And that's really coming here to bite Chuck.
What we're seeing here with those bikers falling back from Seth in the bottom half of the table here is the 2 buggies are about to light up the bikers with that war boss. They're going to go in and try and clean up what's left over. And even that DAC jet too, maybe. Hopefully, though, they listen to what Innes was saying there. I'm putting both of those DAC jets into the larger orc bike unit up top to really neuter any power that it has.
Yeah, just because that one's near a gas as well, that's the one that's slightly more worrying because it's got the rerolls. That's got the potential going for the class. This is a win-loss system though, so there's no bragging rights for neither of them are chasing the 100. Obviously, that is something that would be really funny to go for. Just chase your opponent around the board like, give me the 100 points, give me the 100 points. But I don't see it happening here. I think Seth only gives up. Seth can only get a 10 on assassin here anyway because there's only the 3 characters, with 1 being the warlord. So I don't expect to see any huge scores, but you don't need to like chase down the little things. You don't need to go for the maximum of making sure your opponent doesn't score any assassinates, anything like that, because you just need to win by 1 point in a knockout system, which this is. So we will see the greatest war boss crowned from this game, the greatest war boss in the continental United States.
Absolutely, and that is not hyperbole. That is
It's telling that there's only 4.
we're going to ignore any kind of ranking system internationally.
Yeah.
To focus on these 4 players.
Well, there is no international tournament circuit. It's independent now. So.
Which, thankfully, due to that oversight error, has left just these 4 players in contention.
Yeah. Honestly, if you wanted to be in the greatest warboss competition, you should have been more well known. And how do you get well known? You be the best warboss. Yes, it's circular. No, we don't care.
It makes as much sense as running an orc army sometimes.
I'm just glad the souped up shock is not a thing anymore. That makes me feel better.
Yeah. So, and if you spend some time looking at the orc codex and kind of thing, right?
I have spent some time looking at it, mostly trying to do like that thing where you stare at something to set it on fire with your mind. But I have also looked at the data sheets at least once.
Yeah, telekinesis, a secret Scottish power not many people know about. So both of these armies are running a lot of the new units in there. What are some of the big winners here? I know Seth has some of the rocket trucks, some of the Squig Hog Riders.
Yeah, so I think rocket trucks are definitely a contender for the most improved unit because they went from probably the worst buggy to almost an auto tech. But the real standout winner has got to be the beast boss on Squigga Tyrannosaurus Rex. That thing is an absolute blender. It kicks out like 37 million and 3 attacks with competitive edge for rerolls to hit and wound. There's a really nasty interaction with its the bite attack where if you roll a 6 to wound, it doesn't go to the inflict damage step because the attack's prevented, which means you get to roll again even if you do the mortal wounds with it. Uh, check with your TO if that's allowed if you're playing at an event because I know some places are ruling against that, but that is definitely a thing that works in Rules of Britain. So they are nasty pieces of work. They're very hard to kill. They stack very well with all the incredible warlord traits and relics that orcs have available to them. Stuff like Evil Sons, they make everything in engagement range of them fight last. In Goths, they're just incredibly punchy. There's warlord traits for +1 attack. There's warlord traits for 4+ ignore wounds while in melee range of monsters and vehicles and characters. So, like, if you're Drazar, you're not going to kill him. He will kill you. He is better than Drazar in combat, and about the same points. So yeah, expect to see, like, I've seen lists with 3 of them, and I don't blame them for it. Other new units that we've seen showing up, the truck boys that can now disembark and then move normally after a truck moves. Just have incredible board covering distance. They can do so many shenanigans. They're so good at stealing objectives from your opponent with their OBSEC. Obviously, again, that's another thing you should check with your TO because truck boys can't currently go in trucks. They're actually just really good at emulating
Jump
them.
in there real quick, Innes, and say that Charity Hammer, they are running to that case.
Yeah,
That
so
orc
this
players come
event
up
is
with.
running that is allowed, so obviously don't call this TO. Colin will not take your calls, specifically related to this issue. But yeah, so some events, I don't think I've seen any event that's not allowing it, but just, check with your TO first, or check with your local group that they're okay with you playing it, and how they want you to play it, because there are some slight intricacies with that rule that are unusual.
But make sure to be real snide when you're asking whether truck boys can go in trucks or not.
Yeah,
That's going to be really helpful for your cause.
Yeah, just make sure you said it right. So these are truck boys, and the rules interact only with trucks. Can they go in trucks? And your TO, if they're funny, will say absolutely not, and I will love them for that. If they say yes, well, I mean, first of all, they're
Terrible
cowards,
TO.
but I understand. I understand that you just like when rules is written doesn't work for orc players, it gets changed. That makes that's fine. We love orc player, one of them at least I assume somewhere.
Yeah, orc player is the best.
Yeah, that one guy, orc player, he plays Tyranids. It's just an unfortunate naming convention.
And then I just want to point out here, newly crowned chat boss, Texas Barbecue 12, letting us know that Death Tail Wartrike essentially has a multi-melta that it can shoot. So that truck might be in some trouble up there.
There's an extra dice that wasn't there earlier, so I'm going to assume that it did take some damage. We've also seen just like charge moves, like a bunch of stuff moves around. Was that might have been like the Evil Sons? No, I don't think it was. But these trucks have moved back the way we're seeing these guys go into comp. This Beast Boss store, all this stuff's going to go away. It broadly looks like he's ignored this squad of bikes. Maybe he just didn't feel like he had the firepower to take it out. So there's going to be one squad that Chuck's going to have left to do some work with. But that bomb squad is, I would put decent money on that squad not being there in about 5 minutes. And I'm timing that very specifically to be just about Chuck's movement phase, because if they move away, I'll also count that as them not being there. So winner either way.
Always read the fine print when you make a bet.
Yeah, especially with somebody like a Scotsman. We are notoriously not good at losing, which is a shame because we do it frequently. But
Hey, Chuck. Is he picking up
that's
that squad
2.
there?
Come on, let's see the rest go. Yeah, there they.
Oh.
No.
Well, just the
Is he
tease.
rolling? Yeah.
Yeah. We have one bike left. That's probably not going to do great for morale.
no, there's another save.
Oh, okay. Now, thank you, Chuck. I now owe Innes money, which is also a terrible thing
Well, you did
because
anyway.
people
Did you
do
not
not
hear
like.
this counts as a coaching session?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you also commentate with Innes, he bills it to you as an hourly coaching session. So
Yeah,
this is
you
an FYI.
really got to read that fine print, John. I sent
If
it to
only
your
I
house in
could
Aberdeen.
read.
Like, did you not get it?
Sadly not. Sadly not this
Oh, well,
time here.
I don't mail internationally, so you need to try harder.
It's in Gaelic as well, which makes it even worse. So we have, that entire squad
It's
is
also
gone.
on the label of a whiskey bottle, so you know, like there is
Oh.
upside.
Imagine and I would drink it before cracking it open. It's fine. So yeah, Chuck down to essentially the bare bones here.
Yep, he's
With
got
just
whatever he's got in reserve. That truck, which is apparently still alive.
look, I was informed that truck had a multi-melter shot at it, and now I'm doubting chat.
No, it got shot, but so there's an extra one of those white dice next to it that wasn't there earlier. So it definitely took damage, but I don't think it took much from the first volley. So it's just degraded. But yeah, it looks like we're down to whatever Chuck's got in reserve, and then this one squad of bikes and Gazgul, which could still definitely do some work. Like I would expect to see some of a decent amount of Seth stuff go away here, but I think Seth has got an absolute stranglehold on the objectives now, and I don't think we're going to have a great time here.
Oh, well, especially because it's us. But if we could just have an update from the table there to see what Chuck has in reserve. Then.
So I do this nice string of bikes is getting Chuck a 10 primary here, I believe. I don't think Seth decided to interact with that at all.
Right.
Yeah, there's 5 commandos still in reserve, so that's going to be another pick of retrieval Victoria's data if you can find anywhere to put them in that's not already covered. It looks like those Mega Trucks actually did get to charge something, so maybe those turquoise did get out and we just missed it, which I'm fully willing to accept that we did, because that top left
Absolutely.
corner is hard to see.
And as I just pointed out, there are those bikes on that top right corner holding 2 objectives right now for a 10-point swing for Chuck, which is a really great move from those two.
Yeah, so we're just going to pretend Chuck's practicing for team events now, where you've just got to get that differential as low as you can, so you're scoring more points for your team. So that's the kind of thing you should be looking to do, is just making sure you're maximizing everything you can, even in a losing matchup, because it'll make you look better, and you can blame your other teammates when you lose. I got my points. You know, that's totally how you should handle team events. We really recommend that here. I don't think we should be recommending that, but I am anyway, because I am so far gone.
Yeah, we still have, and you can't see him on the table, so if you just joined the stream here, Gazgul is still in play. He is underneath the gray piece of terrain beside the top middle objective. So definitely still within the threat range of a lot of Seth's army there.
Oh yeah, Gazgul with his plodding like eight whole inches of movement is definitely going to go in. But what you'll notice here is that there is a really nice wall that Gazgul can't walk through between, and also this Death Killer Warstrike that are preventing Gaz from getting into any of Seth's to the last units. And then there's this last squad of rocket trucks in the bottom left corner. So there's the 2 rocket trucks, the Mega Tracks, and then the 2 rocket trucks in the bottom left are all kind of walled off and nowhere near threat range for Gazgul. So unless these war bikes on shooting manage to pick them up, which is very unlikely, Seth's getting his 15 here into the last. So it looks like that end game play he's gambled on has paid off, because he was just able to prevent Chuck from being able to deal enough damage to get through him. Chuck really needed to have that critical turn 2 where he charged in, but just because there was slightly too much distance from him and Seth played really reserved sort of back, there was just never enough capacity to deal that kind of killer blow in one turn, which is, it's a shame to see. That kind of just that one turn, it all goes in, it doesn't work. That kind of feels a lot like Orc's playstyle now, where if you go for the big one turn punch with your wah and it doesn't pay off, that's kind of the drawback of the army, is that you don't really get a second go at it. All of your power is very front loaded into that 1-2 turn, where you get a really strong turn and then you get a slightly weaker but still strong turn, and then you're back to just your data sheet. And you're not looking at strategy with Orc armies at the moment, because most of them are running very pre-game, so you're relying on characters to do the work at that point, which isn't always super reliable. So if you're playing against orcs and you're looking for kind of a way to get around the power of their turn, is try and play as defensively as you can and pick up the points in the late game. It really, really does work if you can just give them that chance of failing some stuff and they fail it on their key turn. Even if they get to do it again next turn properly, the damage output is just lower, the speed is lower, they're not going to be on all the right places with 4 pieces, and they'll have lost stuff. So that's a really interesting way to approach the matchup, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how people look to handle, because Orc is a really powerful book we're going to see on the metagame a lot, and having a good approach to dealing with it outside of just how you build your list, actually how you play the game matters a lot too. So yeah, it will be good to see
And
more
yeah,
from this.
just referring to the chat here real quick, Jersey Devil blew his wah, which is a great phrase I'm going to steal as an original creation of my own, so for that. And he also says there's some quality free tips, which in it, I think you specifically said cost money, but like all of this coverage, it's all provided for free because then it's Child's Play, it's a great international children's charity. They do amazing work with kids, providing toys, video games, and entertainment to assist children undergoing medical treatment. Every dollar donated goes straight to charity. Goes straight to this charity. Not a cent goes to anyone else. For every $30 you donate, you will receive a raffle ticket for an amazing ongoing prize draws. Guys, there's literally thousands of dollars of prizes left to give away.
And I promise none of them are my coaching. You will not be forced to listen to me talk if you win a raffle prize. It cannot happen.
Mainly
The
because
only
Ennis
coaches are
refused
good
to donate
coaches,
it.
like Art of War. So you'll be fine. I promise. It's all just you're getting the good stuff right now, and that is it. This is a one-time deal.
And all of this content is going to be available through the Pod YouTube channel as well in the future. And if you have time, you should definitely go check out some of those games over the weekend. Like I said, some of the top players are here, and there's been some just amazing technical games going on. I know I've seen just such high levels of 40K being played this weekend. Even though it is for a great cause and it is, a fun event, there has just been some amazing play by some great players over the weekend.
Yeah, I want to specifically call out John's game with Bridger from the round of 16 in the GT. Really, really fun game between Sisters and Custodes. I realize it's two Imperium armies, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but the level of play and the level of sportsmanship on display was fantastic. I stayed up till 2 a.m. watching it last night, which today doesn't feel impressive, but yesterday it was nice. It was a really good game, commented by Adam Camilleri and Mikiel. So yeah, definitely go check that one out. There's like 216 hours of stream games, guys. If you're looking for something, you can find it. If you want to see people crying eating hot wings, we've got that. If you want to see people playing really high level games of 40K, we got that too.
If you want to see people playing really low level games of Falcon last night in the stream, if you want to watch us tell chat they're terrible, just generally be awful people, that was a great game between my Death
Just
Stars
remember, the
against
Falcon
Blood
did
Angels.
commit gotchas by using Thunderhammers versus Death Shrouds, and
Which
John
is
was
just,
not
yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah, that is a gotcha
very
move.
unfair, not very sportsmanlike behavior from the
Yeah,
Falcon there.
that was a gotcha move on par with Overwatch.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never once been overwatched and been happy about it.
So we see here at the top of the table over by that top middle objective, Gaz moving up, Trent Dreadnought, Wartrike, and it looks like he's splitting around, so those Warbikers are going around that other side of that. Looks like he had line of sight to the Grots on that objective, but he also looks like that buggy right at the top is on that objective too. So what's the play here?
I think the play here is kill it all.
A great.
I don't know what you want from me. Charge the Grots. They'll die. They're Grots. We have jokes about how terrible they are. They're toughness 3 now. That's not gonna help. And then we got those boys at the top, which I don't feel like the winning play here. The winning line here is not to go for your victorious data on them. The winning line here is to try and just spike damage with them, which looks like what he's doing. You've just got to try and get the maximum out of them, and you can pick up the points in the late game. Try and deny Seth those primaries. If you manage to get those Warbikers on there, very good chance he's only getting a 5 primary because he'll only have the Beast Boss on that bottom objective. And then Chuck will keep 2, will keep 1 for himself because obviously planes can't control objectives. That will keep Chuck to tied on primary, so they'll both have. Well, no, it won't actually. Chuck scored a 0 this turn. Chuck scored a 0 this turn? No, Chuck scored a 10 this turn. Yeah, Chuck scored a 10 this turn. We've just not done the store card yet. We will get that done at some point, guys. So yeah, that will keep Chuck ahead on primaries. He is kind of lagging behind on secondaries, and he's literally running out of stuff to do engage with. I would expect to see something try to swing around to get into this bottom corner, and those commandos. So he's probably got another 3 tick left in him, and then maybe a couple of kills on vehicles. But it's not looking super promising at this point for Chuck.
No, we're
He is really
seeing
playing
here. We're seeing here that Chuck looks like choosing to shoot the Grots. Is that the best play on that there, or is that something where you would try and do like
It
a longer
honestly
charge for free
might be.
movement?
It doesn't look like that different a charge between the Mega Track and the Grots. Like I think this piece of terrain does have a gap underneath it that the Warbikes can go through to get to that Mega Track. So he's probably just going to go for that, shoot the Grots, charge into that, and just try to deal as much damage to them as you can. I think that's a fine play. I don't think it changes the charge measurably.
It
He
still
could
gets
also
Seth.
just charge the Death Killer if he's not feeling up for the big charge. But I think at this point in the game, when you're in a hole like this, you got to go for the risky plays because you don't have another choice. If you can play in a holding pattern and you'll continue to lose slowly, or you can try and go for a big play that's maybe a lower chance of working, and you probably get less points if it doesn't work. But if it works, you actually have a chance of winning the game, and that's definitely the kind of situation you have to learn to recognize is when you need to go for it. And it looks like Chuck figured out this is when I need to go for it. So let's see that from him.
See the DACA being checked here. I'm gonna check rolling all those
So
dice.
this is Grots. Yep, they are dead. So we're now going to see other options for charges there. Those Grots, if they had lived, I think you would have just had to charge them. Like, I don't think you can leave them around. I would assume
Sorry.
they are stinky Grots, but I'm not 100% sure.
Gonna
They
say,
would
there we
be
go.
probably OBSEC.
Great sportsmanship from Seth, removing those grots from the table, not tallying Chuck, so he can continue to roll die.
Well, look, the Orc player's natural enemy is the clock, so I can't say I blame him here.
The rolling the dice is the fun of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you bring Orcs if you didn't love rolling dice? Like, if you love rolling dice, it's the army for you. Personally, love-hate relationship with dice. I can take or leave them. Orc players, no, they are like married to the Church of Dice. It is all they care for in life. And yet we have had that score updated, guys. So Chuck is on a 10 primary for last turn. He did take that top and right objective with that big sort of war bikes. Small nuance in the objective rules: units can hold multiple objectives, models cannot. So in some missions, you might see objectives close enough for a knight to hold. Doesn't work like that, but units absolutely more than capable of doing it. Units of like big units of 30, pink horrors, cultists, anything like that, really good at holding a lot of backfield objectives and just kind of being there. And with the big bases, the knob bikers have plenty of distance to do that in battle lines as well. Okay, guys, we are going to pass you over to the player audio because the Falcon's going to give away some prizes.
Logic checks out.
They're just going to charge the squid board. They did it.
Seth, go over here. What? Get over here. I'm coming. Peter, who's high on capsaicin.
Guys, listen. It's your bird the falcon.
Bird the falcon.
It's your bird the falcon.
I've had 2 hours sleep in the last 36. I feel good.
He feels full of spice.
But
But he's here
my stomach is just
for the
terrible.
children.
But listen to me.
He's here for the children.
I've got prizes to give out, and I'm so happy with how much money we've raised.
Right?
This game is
He's
awesome.
really warm,
These
guys.
guys are awesome.
Whoa.
So first
This is
off,
cozy.
Connor Fleming, I love you. You have won an Abaddon the Despoiler, which is amazing because I've held on to that box for a year and a half now. So being able to give it to somebody else who will make some use of it, please use it.
If you don't have
so
chaos,
good.
you have to start chaos now.
And now the other winner is the Welshman. I hope that is not your real name. You've won 2 boxes of Aberrants. Maybe someday they'll be good again. But in the meantime, they're excellent for conversions. I just love it. Congratulations, guys. We're gonna cut back to Innes and John, but I just want to say once again, thank you so much. This charity means so much to me and to a lot of the people here, and we're just absolutely chuffed because of everything that you guys have been able to provide this whole weekend.
He's so right.
I'm going to punch the shit out of that squid quick.
Okay, back to punching stuff out of the things.
Not gonna lie.
And we're back. Congratulations. And again, if you want to get in on that action, you're like, why didn't I win whatever full prize was just given away? You can get involved too. Every $30 you donate to charity, straight to Chelsea, an amazing children's charity, and gets you in the draw for thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Don't worry, Standard switching service is already gone, so you cannot waste your win on that.
It looks like Seth's not going to need it at this rate. He's beating the greatest war boss, which we assigned arbitrarily at the start of the game, based on absolutely no evidence. It looks like he's winning this game. I mean, he's behind right now, but he's got a bottom of turn. That's looking like a real juicy 15 primary on turn 5. He's probably going to get a bunch next turn. He's getting that 5 off that beast boss at the bottom.
You're going to get 10 because if you look at the objective in his deployment zone, that buggy is sitting on.
Yeah, but we're gonna see a charge here, I would assume.
I'm
Unless
calling
he
he's going
failed
to fail it.
Unless he failed it, yeah. If he failed it, it's going to suck. Maybe he has failed it. That would have been nice to know. I probably should have been paying attention for that. It
You know,
sure
we're
does
just
look
going
like
to
they're
be.
not in combat though.
Maybe they just have super long swing, like it just.
Yeah, we're playing Sigmar now, and they have 37-inch engagement range.
And Seth got a double turn. It's all fine.
This sure does look like it's Overwatch happening at the moment though, rather than end of charge phase. So maybe he's just saving it. He's titillating us. But Gaz is in combat with that Death Killer Warstrike. We are seeing those truck boys go in. As we said, they really need to be doing some stuff, so they're going in to try and pick up some bring it down points, potentially kill off that rocket truck squig buggy, I think. But it could be a Flozzle Snop Dinger Buggle. So how would I know?
Oh, that is the deadliest orc vehicle. The
Yeah,
Snuffleupagus party wagon.
yeah, the noted Haggis Aberdeenshire, terrifying orc buggy.
The kill drummy.
So this does look like those orc warbuggers have either chosen not to charge or have failed their charge. We are seeing Gaz punch the lights out of this Death Killer Wartrick, who is -1 to wound though. So we're going to be wounding him
We're going to ask our beautiful table boss Peter if those warbikers failed that charge.
Let's see the punch. Oh, and the Death Killer goes down.
Unsurprisingly, Gazgul doing Gazgul things.
I don't think anybody's unsurprised that the biggest boss took down the little boss. But unfortunately, the bestest boss is going to take down that guy. I'm running out of metaphors this turn. Gaz gonna die now. Is what I'm getting at.
This puts it in a really difficult position here because Gazgul is right in the thick of it now with the wagons.
Yeah, so the issue is going to be that he's not going to be able to pull off the charge play to get the mortal wounds on the charge because he just doesn't have anything to charge him, and that beast boss is way too far out of range. So it's going to take him a couple of turns to kill Gazgul. So Gazgul's probably going to go in and rack up a bunch of points for Chuck just through killing potentially to the last, unless those squig boys really do a number. I would expect to see Chuck get another turn or two out of Gazgul and do a bunch of damage. I just don't think it's going to be enough because there's no way he's going to catch up on the primary at this point.
So, and Seth still having to the last as well is going to give him a big energy.
Seth's gonna get probably 10 to the last if he can keep this one of the rocket trucks or the mega trucks alive. I don't think Gazgo's gonna get both of them, especially if he walls them off. He's gonna get a 15 primary this turn because Seth is on the left objective with that one mega track, and also that bottom objective with his Beast Buckle Squigosaur. There's nothing on the right hand objective, and so Chuck is only holding the top objective. So that's a 15 primary for holding 2 in battle lines and then holding more. So Seth's going to jump to a 20, and then he's probably going to get a 15 for the last 2 turns because I'm not predicting Chuck having much left potentially outside of Gazgul this turn, which means he's not going to be scoring primaries. So I wouldn't expect to see Chuck score creep up more than maybe 10 more, 15 more if he gets a bunch of kills with vehicles. And Seth's pretty on track for I think the maximum he can score is a 95 if he gets his maximum strangleholds. But I don't think he got stranglehold last turn.
No, I think he's almost given up on Stranglehold looking at those movements. And
Well, no,
the thing,
those guys have just moved on to that objective, so there's
amazing.
he's gonna be on 3 objectives. I would
And
expect to see something like a 92 after paint for Seth here. Maybe if he misses 1 turn of Stranglehold because he can't get it this turn, an 89. But very reasonably, I think he's going to almost double Chuck score in this game. Unfortunately.
It looks like those planes are going to unload into gun. And then the thing about Seth was, well, very fast. Gazgul is not the fastest, so at this point he can just kite away from the biggest boss.
Yeah, honestly, I would have almost been tempted to have all of these buggies just run away from Gaz and then just put the plane literally in between Gaz and them. With a 50-inch move, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to make it. I don't know the measurement exactly, but the board's only 6 inches wide and he had definitely more than 10 inches there. I think he definitely could have just put the plane in between them and just saved all those points guaranteed.
We see those Squig Hog Riders moving up to try and take care of those boys that jumped, the truck boys that jumped out. We see those buggies backing off, and oh no, he's going to block. No, he's going to run away with the buggies.
Yeah, he's literally just going for the Gaz can only kill so many things a turn, and he's got another Scottish Squidcon boys that are going to go and block for them, so that's
He's
fine.
looking,
The
yeah.
plane didn't even need to do it.
And that's a great block by him to really hamper Gazgo's movement and slow him
He's staying
down
outside
even
3 for
more.
heroic intervention though.
Fingers crossed. It looks, yeah. I mean,
It looks
it's
like
a really
it,
good
but
move
you
there.
can never quite tell from the angle that because we're at a slightly oblique angle on the table here. It's not straight top down, so there is always that little potential, but I doubt it.
And that's
And
just
that
really
beast
great
boss
move.
is going for a big charge there.
Really good move blocking by Seth there, and again, protecting it to the last, and just making sure he's maximizing his points, staying on that objective, and hopefully letting those Squig Hog Riders do some work in his turn there.
Yeah, and also that squad of commandos that Seth dropped in last turn have managed to walk up to that right-hand objective from Chuck's deployment zone. So it looks like he's just going to keep racking up those points. That's stranglehold this turn without much effort. So yeah, very good position for Seth here.
Yeah,
Game
and
is looking mostly all she wrote. It's just what Gaz can do because there's no way. I don't see Chuck scoring more than 5 per primary if one of those bikers lives, and even then, I don't think that's super likely. So it looks
see
like we'll
here.
be crowning Seth, but I mean, it's always orcs. Like Gazgal could just I don't know what's the maximum units Gazgal can kill in a turn, like 5, probably.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
he's
say 5
still
and hope that's right.
he's still a giant threat. Like I said, I think what Seth's doing here is super smart and blocking him off from his last targets. He's still holding that objective and moving down, but really kind of forcing Chuck's hand and movement and where he goes. Almost blocking off Glasgow with the base from the flyer.
The best case scenario for here for Chuck is that he moves Gazgal up just outside an inch of those squid hogs, shoots them and kills them. But if you notice, the one with the wound dial on it is the one at the top left. So it's the one that if only that one dies or that one and the next one dies, it's the maximum distance the Gaz would have to go around to get a charge off. So he's very much positioning them very cleverly to make sure that the Gazgal doesn't get to go into those to the last.
What
And
we've seen
Gazgal's
here,
only okay at shooting, so.
what we've seen here is like super great from both players in positioning and move blocking. Like we saw turn one with Chuck completely blocking off one objective and really forcing Seth's hand on a couple of things. Seth here with those great blocks to stop Gazgal from getting to those buggies and just doing insane amounts of damage. Just great plays.
Yeah, exactly. This has very much been a case of it feels almost like a charge of the light brigade, right? Where they're going in, they're getting gunned down as they go in, they're making it in, and they're doing a bunch, and then no, they're just falling over and they're not quite doing it. A great Pyrrhic last stand here for the war bikers as they valiantly drive directly into the bullets, which isn't where you want to go. Just for anybody thinking about trying this at home, drive perpendicular to the bullets and you get away from them. If you drive directly towards them, they will go through you. And that is what has happened to these war bikers here, unfortunately. Although like half of them died in combat to the squig boss, so maybe just don't go near giant Tyrannosaurus Rex dinosaur squigs. I don't think that directly correlates to like real life advice. There aren't dinosaurs, maybe.
How real can your advice be when you're talking about giant mushrooms on dino mushrooms?
Well, I do have some great advice, and that's that you should definitely donate to Charity Hammer, because it's for a great cause, and you can get some raffle tickets.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
every $30 you donate gets you a raffle ticket. We've got a bunch of great prizes coming up, and that's advice that you can take to the bank. To take out £30 to donate raffle tickets. Yeah, we've still got a giant Necron army to put away. My producer is telling me. I've always wanted to say that, so I'm gonna use that one once. So we've got a giant Necron army to give away. There's a bunch of great prizes, guys. The full list is on Charity Hammer. We've still got another nearly full day of streaming to go. So there's still time to get your donations in and get some prizes, get some raffle tickets in, and help them kids. You know.
And the best thing about it is it's a great cause. So yeah, it goes to Child's Play, which is a fantastic children's charity over here. Help kids in hospital play games, and just have fun and do the best they can. And they hire some full-time people who go to these hospitals and spend time with these kids to make sure they are entertained and doing the best they can.
Yeah, man, I wish I wasn't when I was in hospital as a kid. I wasn't quite old enough to know what video games were, but definitely would have been nice if I'd been a bit older. Very much would have been helpful. Hospital's not a
There
great
goes
place to
that
be when you're
truck.
young.
Chuck's truck is unstuck because it was removed from the table.
Chuck's truck got censored.
And again, as Innes and I were perfectly told as before the stream, we are keeping it PG, which is pretty good.
Really hard. Because obviously the natural response to being told you can't do anything is to go, well, now I will do that. But obviously when you're not actually allowed to do that and it's for charity, you gotta be good.
Yeah, if this wasn't for charity, it's after
If
dark
this
all
was
the
just for
time.
the banter, I'd be all over that. I'd be no, you gotta respect the hosts, you know.
I think the best thing apart of that is your audio dropped out a little bit for one of the words. It sounded like censorship, which is just great.
Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. I'm gonna pretend I was like moving my mouth away from my mic, like just slightly, and like just like unplugging it, just to try to make me drop out to make me sound worse. Because that's always what you're looking for. You want it to sound as bad as possible when you're on stream. So yeah, it's just looking like all of Chuck's stuff is going away. We've put 4 wounds on Gazgul or something like that. All the boys have gone away. It is very much those bikers and Gaz is all that's left, and I think it's about to be just Gaz, or maybe that Swig boss won't hit the charge and he'll get one more turn out of them. But I think that's the best he can hope for at this point. So
What do
what's
you think? So I was gonna say, what do you think Chuck could have done differently here? So we saw some really good moves at the start of the game.
yeah,
What?
so yeah, please.
No, so what could have Chuck done a little differently to change the outcome here?
So I like the reserved play that Chuck made, where he very much kind of sat back to give Seth that breakpoint where he had to commit to get his stranglehold points, but he couldn't commit to do any damage. I just think that his break turn, where he went in on his Watt, he didn't commit hard enough or do enough damage. I very much think he could have had all 3 squads going into very big units, which is why I wanted to see Seth do that move block play in front of these 2 ruins in between the right and bottom objectives, where Seth could have just made that not an option and just closed the game out even easier. I think that potentially could have been very possible. Because he only really got 2 squads into combat. He got the 1 squad that went into the commandos, but they were dead anyway. And then the 1 squad that went into the bikes was depleted down to a 5-man. And then the squad that went into the bottom right didn't have gas support, didn't have any rerolls, just didn't get through enough damage output. I think he needed to put like 2 squads into the squad of bikes at the bottom objective. Just shoot the guys off that top objective and then dump something on it, even if you have to just put Gazgul on it, just to control space. Yeah, I think Chuck commit turn just wasn't hard enough. He kind of edged. Oh, and that beast boss hits the charge. That is
That is,
insult to injury, I think.
That's almost good night for the bikers with that charge there.
Yeah, I would take over under on 1 living. John, what do you reckon?
We're gonna double that bet, and it's there 2
Yeah.
pounds.
Do
If
you
there's
reckon one's
any
gonna live,
war
or do you
bike.
reckon they're all gonna die? I'll give you the choice this time.
Oh man, I think how many bikes do we have there? It looks like we have 5 left or 6
5,
left.
maybe
It
a
might be
6th
under
one
there.
under the ruin.
I think it's going to take a lot to get rid of all of them. I don't think the Warboss gets rid of them all. I think morale takes care of the squad.
But remember, he has competitive edge and 8 attacks, 9 attacks, something like that.
That's where we're going. I'm going to say morale.
You're going for they die to morale. Okay, so I'll take the side of they're all going to die to combat. There's not going to be a morale phase this turn.
I do want to remind everyone, just to make sure everyone's aware, Innes is the current reigning team captain of Team Scotland, very good Warhammer player, and I host a show on the Frontline Gaming Network. So if that influences chat's idea of how it should go in any way, and there goes 3 bikes.
I mean, I absolutely believe in your perfect caliber because you have definitely won RTTs before, and that is a incredible sign of at least being semi-decent at 40k. So
That gives me permission to comment on things. So that's all I want to say. There's another biker gone.
Looks like there
It
might be
looks
one
like
left.
another biker gone.
Is Seth out of attacks? I
And
hope
then like
not.
this, I hope he's out of attacks here because this is just great.
Yeah, I'll PayPal you the money you PayPal me. In between
Fine.
turn 1 and 2.
Amazing. Yeah, but now there's that one biker there. It looks like they're likely again.
It looks like I lose. Sad times.
And
Got
then
this,
like
got some good saves in there. Good for him.
sadly, due to the like the changes to the way orc morale works, that biker is not long.
Well, I
And
mean, they were
there
dead
goes
before as well, right? Because he's not in
yeah.
range of 30 boys to get some good leadership. Like, he's going away.
And there goes the truck boys, and here we go with more squig riders, move blocking Gaz. So Gaz is now
Consolidation, move block, like that. Gasgul's not getting into any to the last this turn. I'm
no.
willing to bet this Jet is very carefully placed, so there's not an inch wide gap for Gasgul to go through.
Yeah, and that's some great positioning by Sass to really pin him into that
Yeah.
top corner. So Gaz is
Gasgul's
going to
got-
definitely take out some squig boys, but that's not going to make a difference.
And honestly, there's a decent chance that Seth has transhuman squiggyology or whatever it's called in the bank, where he can just get one of those squads being wounded on 4s, maybe even live, and enough to punch back, because it looks like he's taken some more damage. Very good chance he doesn't make it another turn, which is a shame because obviously we want to see Gaskel do some work. He has killed that Death Killer Wartrike. It looks like he's going to get to pick up another squad of the Squig Boys this turn, and that's probably all free roll for him. And also Chuck's army at this rate. And he does fail the morale check, which means John gets the prize.
Just goes
It's
to
not
show.
it's not respect, but there's something there. I'm definitely.
There's no respect. It's a pound. It's definitely no respect. It's monetary.
Yeah, please don't say pound, because that just immediately calls to mind the Scottish joke, and I can't say that on air. So
If you want to hear that joke on air, off air, and have Innes message it to you, Charity Hammer is a thing we're doing right now, donating money to Child's Play. Not only can you, every $30 you donate, you get you into the raffle, it'll also get you one line of the joke it wants to tell right now.
yeah, I'm not going to try and ask Colin to add a £30 raffle prize of getting to hear that. It's not even a joke. It's just a line. Yeah, we're not going to add that as a raffle prize. I promise. Just if you Google pound in Scottish, it's not going to show up. So come see me at a tournament, and I'll tell you. It's not funny though, so I don't know why I'm building it up.
And I'm going to continue to build it up over this entire year. And then hopefully when we see you over at the Las Vegas Open,
Someone else will cut in line and ask it first.
asking in January at the Rio in Las Vegas. Oh, and looks like Chuck's going in for both units this quick.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the play. Split your attacks. One gets transhumaned, and you just hopefully kill them both. Just spike those 4s. It's the play you got to make when you're in a hole like this, and you're just going for style points. Remember, style
stylish it
points
is.
are valid currency, and they are far more interesting than coward points, also known as CP. You should definitely always go for style points. It's way cooler. And John's not disputing it, so I'm going to take that as my victory.
I'm absolutely not disputing it. As someone who exists solely in the area of style points, yeah, I got to agree.
Charging Custodes bikes into foul blight spawn range. That's definitely style.
That is, I did not do that. I just want to really quickly point that out.
It was done to you.
It was done to me, and I responded in style.
Exactly, and that's what you're always really looking for. Other notable stylish things that from my own legacy tournament history: leaving your librarian in direct line of sight of 9 eliminators. Incredible plays from Innes Wilson there. Don't do these things. They're stylish, but not game winning. Which unfortunately I think goes for Gasgul here as well. He is going to go in there and he's going to punch some Squidhog Riders in style, proving once and for all that the good old ways of being a Goth are way cooler than being a Beast Snagger, because Beast Snaggers are they're new and different, and we don't like them because everything that came out after 5th edition is bad. I think that's the standard line. So we'll see what Gaz can do here. See if he can prove his superiority, or if they just pop transhuman and do the annoying thing that Primaris Marines do, where they roll a bunch of involves.
Looks like Chuck in the bottom corner here is moving in his last unit of commandos into Staff's unit of commandos on that back objective. Try to deny him
They're
some
having a
command.
command off.
No, I'm reacting to that.
They're going commando.
They are. That's even better.
They're definitely not wearing pants. That's 100%.
Which, to Ennis and his location and me and mine is two completely different things. But yeah, it looks like we have a command off at the bottom right.
You can't say it as well after telling me off.
No, I'm gonna tell you off and then enjoy the joke as well because it was quality. I'm proud of you.
I can't even dealing with this, John. You got
No.
to do better for me.
Stop.
Stop what? We
Oh.
were promised something like this, weren't we?
We were
This is
told
what
we were told that yeah we were put on this so that your Scottish accent could bring
I'm
mine.
far too tired to keep this
Yeah.
up much longer.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm
fair.
going to do it for a little bit just because it'll annoy you a little bit.
There's many things that annoy me. I have a large list.
You're
And then yeah, it
Danny,
looks like
so I would assume that that's on the list.
it's fair. Real fair. Coaching service, real annoying. Looks like yeah, we're down to the command.
Looks like one squad of the Squig boys did die to Gaskell's punching in combat. The other squad is going to be hitting him back a little bit. Probably not going to do enough damage to take him out. That terrain piece is getting moved out of the way, and there's some commandos on that objective. So maybe no. No, looks like we're definitely getting a 15 primary for Seth here, because there's nothing on that top objective. And he's still holding 2 to the 1.
And those Squig
That
hogs are
second squad of
all
Squig boys goes
gone.
down. Gaskell's a feckin' monster, isn't he?
He is, but I think we're moving into Seth's turn here where we're going to see the very proud, very orky tactic of running away.
We're getting the line from Chuck there was my corner now, which I think is a vastly different claim from the best war boss, but he sure does have that corner.
Yeah, for sure. Seth likely to leave with the best war boss title. Chuck leaving with the best corner owner. So
Yeah,
there's
it's
still
not
a
even
jacket
like
jet
it's
there.
not even like a table quarter. It is literally like that's a 15 by 10 square rectangle. That's how sides work.
Which, if we follow the change in table sizes, by 12th edition will be the standard table.
Well, I mean, orcs could gerrymander that to be a quarter, right? That's how their secondary works. So
Please stop. No. We're not going to explain how quarters work.
look, gerrymandering is completely legal if you're an orc player, and only if you're an orc player.
Successful out of combat there from Chuck's 2 surviving commandos. Still not objective, but likely shoot them off of that with another unit.
Yeah, the indirect from the rocket trucks, or those Dakajets probably can't turn around. Those Dakajets have been on their loop of the turn. They're probably just going to end the game in Seth's deployment zone, because where else? Excuse me, where else would they go? Yeah. Oh, look at that.
We
He's
see
going to go prove
Seth.
that he's the biggest war boss. Gaskell with your cool fancy rules is nothing for mortal wounds on 6s, is it?
Some other people have cool fancy rules too, and you have to love this ending with Seth destroying his planes, but also with him charging a war boss to try and take out Gas to prove who really is the biggest war boss.
I would make a bet on this one, but it feels kind of foregone, so I'm not even going to offer.
That's fair. That's fair. We ended
Is the
equal.
4-wound Gaskell going to die to the guy with 9 attacks? Probably.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, we have an awful lot of shooting less than Seth's list. We have the 2 Daka jets, all of those buggies, and
We've also got a
target-wise,
wild Nick Nanavati, who is showing up to observe the carnage. And I think Nick is very happy about how much is dead here.
generally over the weekend, Nick happy about most things. But yeah,
Well,
lots of shots to go into 3 models.
when 40k is as high stress as it is for Nick, it must be nice to have a nice weekend of chilling and just playing games for the fun of it, right? So he's not at work right now. Normally 40k's work, so I can't blame him. God, that Gaz is so dead.
Yeah, table update from Nick. Gaz is so dead. High level comp advice. You gotta love it.
So this is over, guys. I think that is more or less going to be all she wrote once Gaz goes down. There's 2 commandos left. They're going to get shot by something. Seth is planning on flexing on Chuck by cabling him on turn 4. He's not even gonna get a turn 5. So he had the contention for the title of biggest war boss, and then he had turn 1, and then he had that table quarter, and now he's going to have no turn 5.
No table quarters.
Look,
We're to
I'm
see,
sure the Orcs could draw table quarters in such a way that they would control them even while they're not in any of them. But yeah, Chuck's gonna have nothing to control them with, sadly. I hope he does it in combat, but those commandos are dead.
Yeah, for sure. And
Nope, they're
and then
dead.
if
They're
we could,
literally dead. This is
if we could
sad.
just talk to the table boss there and just make sure he lets Seth know that if he doesn't try and kill Gaz in combat, then he is a giant coward man.
If he forfeits if he doesn't kill Gaz in combat.
Yeah, if he doesn't kill Gaz in combat, that is game to Chuck as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Chuck receives the title if Seth S-bag if you didn't is how I would put it.
Oh. Down to
Gaz
2
is
wounds now from
down to
succeeding.
2 wounds. I'm hoping that that's all he can take, so it's going to have to be in combat. But okay, would it be better for you emotionally if he did it with the war boss or if he did it with a mega track?
So I feel if he doesn't do it with the war boss again, that's a mental loss for Seth because he doesn't trust himself to lose.
But you have to consider if one of the buggies charges and does the mortal wound strat and kills him by running him over, is that not vibing?
Yeah, that's some real strong Mad Mushroom energy there. Yeah,
Like I'd be there for that. Like I would give bonus points.
I would give style points, which we've already discovered here in this stream
better than
is much more important than bonus points and battle points.
Like
which is
currently,
trash.
Chuck is on more style points because he charged both squads and killed both squads of Squid Boys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Seth's done anything during a style point yet. The only way he could do that is by charging with the truck and running him over, and that would only tie them on style points. So ultimately, I don't think we can declare a winner here.
Chuck has 6 style points right now. Seth could get 10 by running over Gazgul, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's just going to try and shoot him out.
This is just rank cowardice from somebody who would claim to be the biggest war boss. Also, did Makari die at any point? I'm pretty sure Chuck has Makari, but I don't remember seeing him or doing anything.
No, which is really in character. So again, style point for Chuck for playing Makari.
I think that's Makari.
Actually should be played.
I think Makari just
Oh, there he is. Okay, speak of the devil.
I thought he was terrain.
As most orc players do sometimes.
Well, no, as all orc players currently know, Makari is a brick wall when he uses Grot Shields and can't be shot.
Oh, and he did charge in with the wagon, going for that
Yes,
style point.
let's do it. I believe in Seth. I believe in Seth's supremacy.
He's got a seat. He's got 7 attacks.
No mortal wounds. I don't know if that buggy
Oh.
does mortal wounds on the charge.
Well, if
Maybe
he
he
had
did
more
it to
style
tank
points, it would.
Overwatch. I don't really know.
Let me see here, Seth. All hits. -2 wounds. It's going to be enough for gas. Going in. So let's say the war boss didn't get it.
I'm surprised. I wish he'd attack with the swig buggy first.
That's real negative on the style points on that one there.
That's flat 3 mortal wounds, which does kill him.
Oh,
So
and
he didn't die to the war boss. In fact, I declared the squig the biggest war boss.
Yeah, and that is game. And Seth.
That is game to Seth with a tabling at the bottom of turn 4. I don't know if we'll get a full score update. It will potentially be on the screen if we do, but not much more than the 32 he's on currently. Maybe up to a 40 for Chuck. And Seth's gonna rack up something like an 80-point score here, plus his paint.
Perfect. Okay. And we're going to have to make sure that Peter puts in style points as well, which, of course, most important thing to go on there.
Yep. So it's 156 to 42.
How was the comment at 18?
It's still going on.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, young staff over here asked me how the commentating going. Let him know it's still going on, and this is a live stream.
Have they found your Harry Potter cupboard?
No, I was actually sitting on the wonderful porch. It was quite nice outside.
Oh, it's raining here. I'm sure you're shocked.
Wait, you see it?
All right, guys. I think we're gonna call that. Thank you.
Congratulations to Steph,
It's a
who
wrap.
is the biggest war boss, and I think we'll probably get to like WoW on stream or something like that. I'll try not to be
Absolutely.
here for that.
Remember to check out Seth and Signals on the Front Line on Wednesday and let him know he's a coward for the way he played Orcs. And yeah, we have a final score of 49 to Chuck, 95 to Seth. What a great game. And again, this is all for charity, Hammers, all for Child's Play, an amazing charity that helps out so many kids around the world. If you are enjoying this content and you have the capacity to, please donate. Every $30 you give gets you a free raffle entry into a raffle. We have thousands of dollars of prizes. Thank you so much, guys. The next stream is going to be up soon. We appreciate your time. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Happy to be here. Nice. Everything enjoying my steps.
You don't have any more deep sweat, right?
No. Thank you, bye.
We did one job, now what, get boss?
Now I gotta go see. I can't just sit here.
They're in here. How are you handling that? I think you can see. There's no way.
All right,
Don't even, there's no way. Okay?
Yeah, I figured, right? It doesn't feel good, but because the two other walls are sort of forward and staggered, it doesn't allow for many like angles to come in from the sides because you don't have your sides for protection. But there's no like There's no like line through here
Yeah.
or this way where he can actually get to you.
So if he's getting me, it's just with dogs, basically.
Yeah, and you can flip those out.
Are you ready for me to just deploy the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Master strategist. Deploy the line, win the roll off.
Like
game over.
You cannot table this in one turn.
I can.
I'll do +1 to wounds, but I'll put one of them into here. So these are the 3 hitting that redemptor on 2s, rolling everything that's not a 6. No 6s, so just 1. And 2 dice, please. Thank you. And then I wound on 4s, just +1 wound into the T7 one.
We're doing what?
4s, just +1 to wound. This is into the T7. So 8, 11 saves.
AP2?
4 wounds. AP3. So 5 of them ones.
Are you an assault officer?
Yes. Okay.
I'm dead. I didn't blow up, that would have been hilarious.
5 attacks into the other one, on 2s, not 6s, rolling everything. 1, 1, 1, 6. Explodes. Wounding on 5s because you're T8. Okay.
Whoa! All of them.
6 saves on your aim one.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Okay. Stuck it forward. What? Wait, I'm alive? Why am I alive? Why is this camera in the middle here? Because I decided to start dancing in front of John. John said, I'm going to get a minute of content out of you. So I'm going to be here for probably not quite a minute because I can't count. Anyway, flipping this update right over here. Mixing some serious poo-poo shit. I don't know what's going on fully over there. Death Wars is scary. There's a lot of on the line. Their armies are like this on the front lines. Okay. Jamie went first against Ultramarines, and I don't know fully what's going on. The aim state looks funky as hell. I haven't looked in there. I haven't looked in the pool house. I'm here. Goodbye. Take care. Be brutal cutting.
I'll try not to swear as much as I usually do.
He didn't have the stomach to stay on this video. He had
Then
to
I'm
run
just
out.
gonna sit like Jay and Silent Bob like I usually do with
Yeah, but I mean, like sometimes, like if I will sometimes like treat myself to a stream. You know, like my kid's playing quietly, he's like reading a book or something like that. You know,
I'm not even
like beer or something like that, and I'll just watch it. But usually it's like I got stuff to do, and I do that.
I'm lazier than that because if I want to find out when something happens, I'll actually call.
Okay,
Be like,
fingers,
did
do you
anything
have the
cool happen that I want to see?
Okay.
And then they're like, fine.
Yeah,
okay.
Right now, I feel like unless it's like John and I talking to sisters, I feel like
they can get. I don't know what.
if I call
what's
one of them, a
precedent?
lot of times it just feels like the
And then the shaman gives us
so when John and I it's a little more two-way, but then also having gone over to like up to their house, I went to their house last weekend, and they just like ragdolled me for 2 days straight.
Fuck no.
It's cool. I brought my dog up. You know, they had fun.
Okay,
He
so
had
it's
lots
not
of
all
pets.
bad.
But they loved it, but it was just like right now. I've seen how busy they are.
There's so much.
So
I just
want to
don't call
play.
because I feel like at
I'm
that
going to
point
start
it's
with
a coaching call.
MSU rubric.
I do like moving is nobody
Pressuring
wants to
forward
lose,
either
but
through
man,
jumping
you
or
learn so much
rhinos
more
with
from
flamers,
getting
and then the rubric's just
Well, the
sitting
thing,
back.
the reason why I
scared
went up there is
and then cleaning up.
because I feel like
No, we
when
didn't look
we're
at
generally
chaplain
like
prayers.
secondaries, my stretch feels fine.
We still have a little bit to go.
Micro feels fine.
And then I need to figure out how to play hero.
My technical combat phase and charge phase maneuvers
There's a
have gotten
30-inch
so much better than they were a
prayer
year ago.
that's
And
-2
I've
to
clutched a
advantage.
lot of games.
Yeah, you
just
pick a
that.
unit, you're like, pull up those demonettes.
And it does one
And
more.
it feels like now I think I'm hitting that
Because
that
then you can
glass ceiling
hit
forward.
Is that Curse from Sigmar?
Yes, basically. No, Curse from Sigmar is
Ruben, Parker, Reggie, and everything. I'm like, hey.
No,
what
every
do you think
six
my
every
strengths,
6 to
my
hit is
weaknesses,
more than
or just like my play
Can you
style?
stop Doombolt? Can you stop?
Because I don't trust myself to
Doombolt just
self-analyze.
sucks now.
Well, hold on. There might be
So
another
if I
spell
ask other
not
people,
called
it gets a lot of
Doombolt.
speed back,
Right?
and I know like what I
The
can stop
spell
working
now
on,
called
what I can start
Doombolt
working
is
on. And I can
cast
also
on
know like,
6,
what factions
flat
are
creation engineers.
jive with how I like to
Oh,
play.
it's 100%, please.
But there might
So All of them are like you're a very defensive, cagey player. Your head math is excellent. It's super rare that when you commit to shooting something, it doesn't die. They said, however, it seems like for the most part, you come out of turn.
There's this one called Baleful Devotion, which is one of the higher cast ones, and it seems really good. You have to pick a visible unit with 6 or more models, but then you roll a d6 equal to the result. Sorry, roll a number of dice equal to the result of the psychic test, which is minimum 8.
Nick was testing yours.
Though you can modify it.
John was testing
And then on a 6 you do D3. So it's like Sigmar Zinch's Firestorm.
I played this match
And then there's
I
also...
can't crack it.
So say you cast on a
We did, we're like, well, it is actually hard spoiler,
then you pick up
but
8
you go to
dice.
super major event, what are the odds?
D3 rolls. But if you... It's not unmodified.
So that was an interesting find.
It's the result of the psychic. So if you roll like a 9 with Armon as a plus 3 caster, and then you bump it up to a 12,
it turns out that when
roll
I play,
12 d6, and your 6 is
I'm
your
afraid
d3
of
more
taking
rolls.
damage by material early. I'm like hyper afraid of it. I think I've just been
And then,
touched by one.
then you can do a bunch of cool stuff. You can be like, oh, my Rubik's thing, or my Rubik's thing just jumped over here. They almost see that behind here. And just
so now my positioning is bad.
You can like
and then what ends
spell
up
portal
happening
with
is I get to pull one wildly.
How does the
because I sit there, I'm great target.
D3 damage does 3? Is that only on a smite?
And I basically just tread water and wait for my
I don't know. I
opponent's
haven't
mistake.
looked at that.
And then I explode out and
actual Zinch's Firestorm is just on 5 steps.
No, it's on 5 if you... John, have you heard of the saddest movie of all time?
I have not.
Okay. Picture this. 1991. You were negative 17 years old. This movie comes out, okay? And they tricked us, people of my age. I'm talking about the movie My Girl. So, Macaulay Culkin, big star, just did Home Alone, smashed Joe Pesci in the face with an iron, probably killed him in real life. We've never seen him since. He's in this movie. The trailer, Dan Aykroyd, fresh off SNL, Ghostbusters, champion. Little tubby, yeah, Coneheads, little tubby now, very dad. He was always very dad, really. Anyway, he's playing the father, this really cute girl, and there's this boy who's her best friend, and it seems like a coming-of-age story, right? And the movie looks like it's about 2 friends just running around, but there's like this omen of like death because the father is like a funeral director. But you know what? It seems fine. Macaulay Culkin. Then they betrayed us. Like half an hour into this movie, people, Macaulay Culkin's running in a forest with his friend. They're having a great time. He trips on a log. Bees. Just a log full of bees. They sting him all over. John, he was allergic. He died. Okay? So picture this. 10-year-old Peter. Yep. Watching this movie with Macaulay Culkin. I'm waiting for Joe Pesci to get hit with an iron in the face. Okay? Macaulay Culkin dies in front of me. Then, next scene. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Wait, they're trying to pretend that he didn't die for the daughter because she's so sad, right? She doesn't understand death because she's young. They have the funeral because the dad's the director. She walks in. Sees her dead friend on the plinth. Runs up to him. Where are his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. Possibly the worst experience of my life. So I'm saying all this so you understand. Bees are the worst. Bees are terrible. Anybody, they're not helping us. They killed Macaulay Culkin. Jerry Seinfeld made a terrible movie with them. They're all liars because you think they're gentle little creatures, but they sting you inside your anus when you least expect it. Then you have a hard time
number
walking
one attack zone
for
today.
2 to 3 weeks. Screw bees.
Peter,
hello.
Tell me about Ruben's hands.
Ruben Fernandez has hands that are softer than anything you have ever touched in your entire life. Let me tell you something. I don't know how I could, have you ever held a baby in your arms? A baby that has just been filled with talcum powder, covered in talcum powder, not filled, that's gross. But covered in talcum powder, and you're like, wow, This is a soft thing. The baby could be ugly, but you're like, this is so soft and tender. And now imagine that, and then smother that baby in margarine, and then like how slippery that would be. That is Ruben Fernandez's hands. You cannot experience something like that without being changed in your soul.
Can you show me where Ruben touched you with his soft hands?
Well, like, he just grazed my fingers the first time. And then after that, after I started calling him Butterfingers, because that is his true name, like, every time we meet, he makes sure to shake my hand in the limpest way possible so that I know who among us is the alpha.
Why'd you heal so fast? He was like, no idea. Anyway, don't look.
But you're learning. I'm learning.
That's right.
We're here to learn. This is Learning Hammer.
Yeah.
Learning Hammer. This is the weekend. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Our director says yes. It's called Learning Hammer. How do you like being the director?
Oh, I hate it. Yeah.
Oh, you hate it? You want to join us? Join us on the
What
couch.
the heck does Val think he's doing?
Join us on the couch. Tell us how your weekend's going.
Oh man, I'm very tired.
Yeah?
You can take a nap out here if you want. Oh, I might just. Yeah, no, I've just been going around, filming people after games, during games. It's doing some in-game footage of some of the tables that aren't being streamed. So even though you might only get to see 3 or 4 minutes of a deployment zone, it's 2 different players, 2 different armies, some pictures of the armies, kind of stuff like that. So it was. That's been super fun.
You're getting the feel of the event.
I get the feel of the event. I get to walk around. So yeah, it's been super good. So far, it could still be ruined.
It could be. We've got 2 days left.
Oh god, there's 2 days left.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's intense, man. This is a lot of games.
It is. So you guys obviously single elimination tournament decided to draw. So good job on that. And then high five. Yeah, good job.
Which then forced Colin to be like, "Oh no, we need to figure out a different result here, boys."
Which forced Daddy Collins come in and just try and figure out some tiebreaker that sounded fair.
Yeah, 'cause he was just like, "What the?"
Which I think you did pretty good on, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be really unsatisfying for you both if after like that intense game, you were like, well, let's add up what you killed and do all this kind of things. Like, I don't think that would have been like super satisfying for either of you.
I mean, I definitely didn't kill as much as Danny. I was hanging on with scraps.
So at least you had some chances for sixes to make it all the way through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I feel like Danny being like relatively newer with AdMech and me new to this new Orc Codex, like there's definitely room for growth for both of us. I still say AdMech's probably stronger than Orcs as a codex, but
yeah, I agree. No question.
I will say the chat was really alive during the game about like your performance with orcs and like how well you did in general, especially because everyone knows AdMech. They're like the boogeyman of 40K right now. But you were like obviously the way it ended, but you right up until the end, you were super close that entire time. What tools in the orc book do you think it is that allows your list to stay toe-to-toe with like such a meta list like AdMech?
I mean, the vibe I'm getting from orcs so far is they're fragile, but they're monsters in combat. So I was able to trade pieces. I was able to throw out like, okay, I'm gonna like turn one. It was like truck boys go up and kill, half a Vanguard squad. And then the war boss chips in a few more. Squig hogs go in and kill, a squad. Like being able to just throw one thing away, and on this terrain, I at least had a chance to like hide my other assets. So at least I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm throwing crap into him, and yes, he's gonna turn around and with the rest of his army pick up whatever I threw out there, but I'm just keeping him knocked back is what's working, and that was kind of the game plan. I debated whether I should take Stranglehold, but it was like, okay, then I've got to keep putting assets out in the open, looking at the table, versus easier to hide things for engage. So the characters are beastly. Like
they are.
They just eat things.
They're very good. War bosses are gross.
Yeah, they are. They walk into armies and.
Which is good. They should be. There was points towards the end of the game where you decided to charge your Storm Boys over and into the Chicken Walkers.
Yeah.
Instead of the OPSEC unit on that objective, which let Daddy get like a 15-point. What made you make that choice?
Well, so the Rangers were with 2 attacks apiece, and they were no longer -1 weapon skill, I believe, at that point. So
they were not.
There was a decent chance that if I charged into the Rangers, they just picked up those 5 Storm Boys. And there was more of them on the objective than me, so I wasn't going to be able to steal the objective from him. But those Chicken Walkers were at an angle where they could try to shoot one of my While We Stand units of rocket trucks. That was already down to 1 truck, so I wanted to keep that alive. And if I tagged them, then he had no way to get to those rocket trucks. And I really was just trying to preserve my While We Stand points.
Yep.
So, Danny, I think this is your first game into New Orcs, right?
Yeah, it was.
So what is your take? Because again, Seth is, as we've said before, like a really great Orc player. He's played Orcs for a long time and kind of has a really great handle on this book now. What is your take on Orcs as a competitive army in the current scene?
I think they're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
cool. Yeah.
I mean,
he likes it. Mikey, he likes it.
They have a lot of really interesting tools. I mean, obviously, I don't think that they're to the same level as AdMech, but I do think they're probably I think they're probably close to sisters, like as far as power level goes. So maybe like not as good as Drakari or AdMech, but like kind of right at that next tier down, which is still great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where we all long to be.
The issue, The issue is with Orcs, I think, is like limited command points due to because they have to take multiple detachments to get more of the fighty characters.
Yeah.
So
and then you want relics and warlord traits on them. So then that's costing you CP.
Yep, absolutely. So I think it's tough to make a list that can actually use some of their cool stratagems, but their stratagems are okay. They're not great though, right?
There's some good ones. There's some that are situational. I didn't think about it at the time, but the Storm Boys being they could have. I think they have tank buster bombs. I don't know. I have to go back and look if they have the keyword. Lucas says no.
No, sir.
No.
Well, then never mind. I couldn't tank buster bomb the Chicken Walkers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad for that.
If you cheated, you could.
Yeah.
You need to try harder.
Cheating always wins.
It sure does. What was something you did during the game, Seth, that you're like, man, I should not have done that?
So Danny and I were talking about it. when the turn one, when I charged up my truck boys with the truck and the the war boss and the boys, I made two mistakes there. One, I charged the truck in, and then in doing that, got it outside of 3 of the war boss. And then ultimately what ended up happening is I had trapped the Cerberus Raiders, and had 1-on-1 wound, which was the trapped one. And of course the truck manages to get 2 hits, 2 wounds. Danny fails to save. So then that unit's not trapped anymore. And then, okay, cool. You know, because if they kept that trapped, then those guys protect the war boss.
Yep.
Or even if I did make the charge and kill that unit, if I move the truck correctly, that protects the war boss.
And the truck wasn't on the objective. It was just like the truck placement was probably pretty bad.
Yeah,
but
and
like,
that's the thing I got to learn.
Those little micro things like that have really big like implications. Yeah. So and like those are the kinds of things that you really get down when you like. The next time you play, you're not going to make those same kind of mistakes again.
I'm gonna not do that anymore.
Right.
Danny, what was your trademarked wrinkle brain move of the day?
Ooh, I didn't really have one, honestly. It was all pretty obvious, like my moves. I feel like
bang bang.
Yeah.
Put buffs.
Oh,
shoot
you know what it was actually? My wrinkle brain play, and I've thought about it for a while for melee screening. Was the Vanguard. When I left the one guy out of coherency close to the truck boys, so they had to consolidate.
Yeah,
into
you did.
him.
Oh, nice.
And then he died to coherency. And
yeah,
then,
he did.
like,
That was a good trick. Because I had used the 6-inch pile in and consolidate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been.
Man, Danny, you and using morale to get out of being trapped places is like a key McDivitt move. Well, I'm gonna go edit this, put it up, so hopefully it'll be up on a stream in 3 hours. Or 3 hours from ago, whatever. There's a link in this bottom corner, or this bottom corner.
One of them.
tinyurl.com/charityhammer, because I got sick of trying to remember the official one. And then also scan the QR code in the corner, and that'll take you right to the donation site as well. Every $30 you donate gets you an entry into a raffle.
Hell yeah.
With literally still thousands of dollars of prizes. And a luxury blanket.
One luxury blanket, which will be signed by John and I. Well, by John.
You
know what? He's going to forge my signature. So
it'll be signed by me and me pretending to be Danny.
Yep.
So until next time, ta-da.
I can't. He's making one card, man. No, because that's white card strategy. No, that's Jeff.
I want to So it's like a team thing.
I always forget that I run sectors or I have actually.
What's the range on these guys?
I have done that.
Oh, sorry, these guys. No,
you did like 15 inches.
How'd that go?
They wouldn't see it coming.
Like starting the game, I was like, I'm going to lose this
48 or 30.
unless you
Oh,
come
they're
at
still
me,
36.
and you have no reason.
Do they ignore heavy penalties from
So
me?
I have to go to you.
Them?
run him
No, I
down.
don't have anything that naturally
This
ignores
game
cover.
is basically
Not cover, but ignore
because
minus
I,
one for
do
movement.
this thing that I just didn't do.
Yes, they're like it's some sort of like platform
anyways,
on them that they're.
But afterwards, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm gonna go lay down. And Anthony was on my couch.
Sure, just left.
Okay, well, I'll go sleep on Anthony's couch. I don't care if it's smaller. Oh, there's somebody on Anthony's couch. Well, Brad gets up and plays game. I was asleep on the chair.
Can you put me on the most
Fell asleep,
extreme
woke up like
point?
45
Is
minutes
this
later,
the
Brad
most
was already
that
back.
would be the most extreme angle, right?
Oh, you can
1, 2.
Just kidding on you.
Yeah, I came across this.
So you did not play.
Oh, I got 2 hours.
So I'm way safer.
Okay.
These guys are trying.
Would you like me to take over the things that you're doing and let you go sleep?
You normally get snipes, right?
I'll tell you when I hit the wall.
We need to figure out at some point. We need to have somebody doing the spreadsheet and stuff when Nathan's away. Oh, you know what we should have? We should have Misha do that.
Yeah,
I bet because he'll be.
So it's the front unit, the back unit? There's only one guy on the back unit on it. It's easy. Oh, it's just... I don't really score to him. It doesn't matter at all. Which one's the nitrous, please?
never seen it. A little bit back so there's less shooting. He doesn't need to be on the line. Can you put this one in effectively the same position? Yeah, I'm trying to use those corners so that if you want to pop out this way or this way, you don't have to angle. I mean, this way and that way you are. Can't do much about it. Another guy down. Nice little dance. I'm on the defense.
Can you guys make sure your mic's on? Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And scroll down and see what Danny does.
No, it's the same one.
Which one is it?
There's not separate. Oh, it's shared. It's a shared feed. Okay, but am I showing up on there? Yeah.
All right, we good. Good shot here. That's the final question.
Is Danny moist already? Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Bridget, talk to me.
Hello. How's it going?
Didn't see any movement there.
Karen is into admin?
Andy, 1 second.
And you go second, that's about it.
There's a chance the player still pulls out as long as Alex goes first. So if Alex has a 80% win rate going second, he still has he still has 100% right loss.
I really like all the work he did to still lose like entire squads because of anecdotes bullshit. That's my favorite part. I wrapped these 6 guys. What are you gonna do? Well, I'm just gonna spend some being.
Well, so far our losers are the 4, 5, and 7 seed.
Yeah.
Oh, because Alex got by Hank?
Yeah. Alex, Rich, and Vessel, all down.
Oh, Vessel. No, he's there.
Oh, well, Rich lost?
Yeah, Luke's got him.
Oh, Lucas got Rich? Mm-hmm. Oh, you fucked my bracket up.
That's what Lucas is here to do.
I mean, it's not that I don't have faith in you, it's just I just know Rich is really good. So I was like, that's
Of course,
all right.
you look at the list and you're like, oh, Rich, looks like Rich read the New York's Codex. And Luke's didn't.
Went into not.
Oh, I don't care. You got mustard all over your like all over it.
What's your question?
What's the next question?
Because I measured from here.
Prize.
Priority target.
Deployment zone. That would not actually be the table we're playing on. If you would like to deploy your army back there, I would go ahead and win.
Oh my god. You know what? I'm supposed to be the one that went to bed early last night. But now my old age is showing.
I actually.
Hilton, when's your birthday?
Colin, you said the bikes aren't very good. Why aren't they very good? I have to play against them.
What's up, John?
Oh, it's so much easier.
No, the jet bikes.
I'm so much farther forward.
Were you like, how am I going to win this game?
I'm like, God, it's so far.
And the gears are turning your head like, he's going to be all over there, he's all the way up there. Why'd I pick that side? But
I mean, they're crazy fast.
So,
they're witches in combat.
It's not so
They can reroll wounds because they're witches. And they have 3 lances that will miss.
your bikes go 20th, they lose the Oh, they lose the bike, they lose that. Okay. So they would go at most probably like 18.
I'll find some looser clothing if I'm not going to be Steve. I got this. If I'm not going to be Steve, Steve is just
would matter.
It's a joke.
That makes sense.
They were good. They were funny. They're insane.